escape me!
Get those nerds!
Nerd!
Nerds!
What?
Nerds! What's up, everyone? How are you all doing? Happy New Year! And I know we skipped last week, so it's post-Christmas as well, so belated as well. How are you all doing? I'm so glad to be back. We took 1 week off, and you know, it was worth that skip week. We got the energy recharged. We're feeling good. We're feeling high styling, profiling, jet flying, limousine riding like Ric Flair. Woo! Type of style going on. And it's the 70th episode of Toxic Tuesday. So I'm just going to get out of the way right now since tonight's the 70th episode. After tonight, we are 5 episodes away to episode 75. The huge episode 75. I've already marked it down on the calendar. It'll be Tuesday, February 21st. I just want everyone to remember this because it's going to be a big occasion. 75 is huge. And yes, we'll do another huge occasion for 100, which should be around August or September, give or take, if there's any breaks in between. But episode 75 is February 21st, and we will be talking on that Tuesday evening, Wayne's World. I mean, absolutely one of the fucking greatest movies of all time. I mean, I'm of the mindset of if you don't like Wayne's World, you're wrong. That's Wayne's World to me is not an opinion. Liking Wayne's World is it's like liking a fact, but I'm not gonna go into my derailing of opinions and facts and all that gibberish because you're all here to talk about Revenge of the Nerds. That's the movie we're all here to talk about tonight. So let's enjoy this. This is a historical movie. I first saw this in my middle school days, and this was a gateway of sorts into the whole fraternity, partying movies, and all that stuff. And of course, for all of us young lads in the chat, whether we're just about hitting the puberty stage or just after, it was one of those movies that gave us our first sense of spider senses tingling. So I have a lot of history with this movie, not just from the laughs and the crazy inspiration fraternities, but this movie inspired me quite literally to get revenge on a few, well, I don't want to say bullies, but students who were a pain in the ass, classmates who were a pain in the ass. So I did get my revenge, and I did take it to levels that the nerds did in my own fashion. We'll share that story and so many more tonight for the 70th episode. And before I bring in my panels, I'm going to blaze through all these comments because you guys are coming in hot with all these comments. Jeez. D-Bud Martin, Darius Moonchild's the Union of Amateur Strategists. How you doing, fandom? Outsider. What's up? What's up? What's up? Michael Carney. Stephen M. Kel L. Hello, hello, hello. Who else is here? Davina Duckworth, how are you doing? Thank you for being Jammin' John. CAWS. Hello, hello, hello. Lisa, what's up, Lisa? Fancy seeing you here a little bit later. Southern Viking. Equate the Mussin. Hello, hello. And Spaceship Vampire. Fat Elvis. What's up? Yes, it is huge. Mr. Angel. Jonah a Hex. Deleted scene. Inverse opinion. Welcome. Oh, there's going to be liquid heat. Yes. And then Christian DeLorme coming in hot with a Canadian $5 with a huge 69 Slayer. What's up, Rob Baltis? All right. Thank you, Christian. Start off hot with the $5. Lovely Sherry. Yes, we got the meme. We will share the meme. We'll bring in our panel and then we'll show off the memes. All right. Let's start off with the man who literally saved the show in more ways than one. Mr. Mark D with a C.
Hey.
How are you, sir? You are the hero of the show, not just for what you already do, but for the fact that a lot of our guys on the panel had issues, viewing issues, we'll just say, and you came in and you swept us off our feet. I mean, our show is already inherently gay, but you may have solidified the love of Toxic Tuesday tonight with what you did for us. So thank you for your work. You're a sung hero. Yeah, you're a sung hero. Yeah.
Big hugs tonight. Yeah.
Well, thank you. Seriously.
No, it was no problem. But nerds should be easy to find, you would think. But yeah,
You
the
would
candy's a
think.
little bit easier to
You
get.
would
Yeah, I guess
think.
this movie's probably not too correct these days. But yeah, I mean, I saw this when it came out. Back was it 84? And
Yeah,
buddy
1984.
and his sister. Yeah, remember going to see it. Like, let's go see this nerd movie. Heard it was funny from some friends. I'm like, it's not going to be good. This is going to suck, right? It's making fun. And I was kind of the computer nerd in high school, but I went in both worlds. Like, I played some hockey and I was in scouts and I had I have a bunch of the computers in this movie, so which is sad because I can have the computers in this movie. But so like and then seeing it in the movie theater was just a lot of fun. You just loved to get in. My buddy's sister was a little embarrassed by a couple of the scenes, I think, but she was laughing too. And yeah, we're like, oh shit, this was a good movie. So yeah, this is one of the classics. And it's the 80s. This was high school for me.
Oh, it's
This was
very 80s.
this this is what you were living back then. It was a far different time back in the 80s. So but yeah, it's gonna be fun talking about this, and I'm gonna get back to editing some of the pies that I've been editing right now. So I turn my camera
The
off and get back
pies.
to the pies. So we'll have
Thank you,
some
Mark.
fun pies later. Yep.
All right, thank you. And then Christian Dorn with another Canadian $2 says, Connecticut's favorite son. Hey, Mark. Thank you for the
Hey,
Canadian $2. And yes, hey, Mark, of course, because it's Marky
Connecticut.
with a C. All right, let's bring in our other gentleman here. We got Mr. Tom Connors. Look at you. Looking nice and all dapper. How old are
Revenge of the
you?
Nerds. I love this movie. Yes,
Dude,
this came
that's
out in
long.
1984. One of the greatest years in cinema history, if not the greatest year. It was a sleeper hit at the time, but it did very, very, very well. In fact, it did so well that I believe if I remember, it kind of got like a minimum release of like 50 or so theaters its first weekend. And those all did so well that they quickly jumped into doing a full theatrical release worldwide or US wide. So like the next couple of weeks they tried to roll it out. It was that much of a hit that they didn't realize they had on their hands. And yeah, I mean, of course, it spawned several sequels. Roger Ebert and Gene Siskel actually gave it a glowing review.
In fact,
Roger
right?
Ebert called it a sweet.
It.
He called it a sweet film.
Well, he's a nerd.
Not wrong. He's not wrong.
Both of them are. You can tell.
Get into it.
You can tell they're gushing over the movie because this is them, right? Like this is us. Yeah. This is, and this is a movie I've argued you cannot make anymore. They tried a couple of years back, and it's just like, and I'm not saying for the problematic factors. It's just even the third film. When you got to that film addressed the problem you have now, and that is nerds are no longer the outcasts. Yeah, they're cool.
They rule the world.
They're Steve Jobs. They're, all these kind of guys that at that time. So like, that's kind of what the whole point of the third film was, is, that nerds kind of lost their way and got their egos ahead of themselves. But like, it's just, it's a great franchise. Believe it or not, it also had a spin-off TV show for one episode that didn't go anywhere.
Didn't even get, the pilot didn't even get anywhere. It didn't even get released. Yeah.
No, but the funny part is Robbie Rist is in it as Booger. If you may not recognize that name, but you will recognize the voice and recognize the face if you really, really think about it. Because Robbie Rist played Cousin Oliver on the Brady Bunch, but he's more famously known as the voice of Michelangelo. Pizza Dude's got 30 seconds. Yes, that's and he played
Brady Bunch
Booger.
Connection?
Yep, he played Booger in the Revenge of the Nerds TV show that never took off. So yeah.
That's why I'm here. I learn something every time. This is awesome.
See?
Oh, I got plenty of trivia when it comes to this.
I do too. I got more than me, but this is gonna be fun to talk about. I got just the cast alone is so noteworthy. And it's something I didn't notice then when watching it, but now I rewatch. Like, hold up, I remember you from so and so. There's a whole lot of that. So yes, we'll get into it.
Yeah, a lot of these guys were just getting started too. Like this was, I mean, John Goodman was kind of, semi well known, but not like big yet.
Not a big star,
James Cromwell was another one who had, he's been around. He was a character actor, but like, yeah, this launched Anthony Edwards' career. Curtis Armstrong, this was his first big movie. Robert Carradine, who had been in, his brothers and stuff were famous actors, and that kind of really helped him get to that next level. Timothy Busfield would famously go on to be in like 30 something a couple of years after this, which was a huge TV show. You know, Bernie Casey, of course, already was a very famous character actor at that time. You know, yeah, just a cast chock full of great actors. And yeah, I mean, even the what do you call it? The jocks and stuff are full. You know, you got McGinley and
Stan Gable,
all those guys.
Stan Gable, from Married with Children. I didn't realize it because
Ted McGinley.
I actually watched Married with Children around the time I first saw this movie, and I didn't make the connection until I'm rewatching it. I'm like, hold up, that's that dude from Married with Children. What the frick?
Yep,
My mind was just blown, man. Oh, it's so good. All right. We got other guys that we got to bring in here.
Yeah.
Of course, we got another Super Set, and we got.
There's another. Actually, there's one more Ninja Turtle connection in this. This is what's weird.
Ooh.
In the movie,
go ahead, go for it.
Brian Toshi plays Toshiro. Do you know who Brian Toshi is? He is the voice of Leonardo.
No, I did not know that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so there's another Ninja Turtle connection to the nerds, believe it or not.
That's
awesome.
awesome.
I love it. Oh, this is gonna be so good tonight.
Yeah.
All these
I
correlations.
have a frush. What the fuck is a frush?
All right.
Oh, thank you.
Let's bring in our other gentleman here. We got, of course, one of the great moderators of this, little corner of YouTube, and that would be Mr. Redshirt. How are you, sir?
Hey.
How's it going?
I'm great.
I'm doing fantastic. There he is. I was doing his voiceover for a second there.
Tonight about love and marriage.
Love and marriage, right? For real. Oh, I can't believe I didn't notice it then.
This movie today.
You cut out a little bit. Red shirt, you cut out slightly.
Yeah, we're losing you, buddy.
Yeah, I'm having
you want to slide out and slide back in?
Internet issues.
If you want to slide out, just write in the private chat.
Ground control to red shirt.
Yeah, robot red shirt. Yeah. If you just slide out and slide in.
There were robots in this movie.
There was.
Damn
bots already.
Am I?
Yep. Yeah, we've lost him. Why don't you come on out and come back in? All right. You'll be back.
Sounded perfect in the pre-show.
I know, right before the show started, you were.
I'll tell you what.
Perfect.
Give me a few minutes. I'm going to reboot the whole.
Okay.
Yeah, you're sounding really robotic.
I'll be back.
Oh, thank you, Tom. We got this one from Magic.
The Legion of Memers are already working.
The memer, and we got this one, and then we got one from Cher. So this one's great because you can see Dustin's in back of me. Dustin, are you still in my head?
He can't quit you.
And then you got Geary too, and you got Mark. Is that 70s? Zoom in on this. Can you zoom in on
Hang
this
on, let me see if I can. No, I can't. Let me open it up in a different window. Maybe I can. Yeah. I've never seen this poster before, actually. I mean, the original version. Not this version of it.
I've seen this poster.
I've seen the one where he's holding up the panties, but I've never seen with all this stuff in the background. That's a new one for me.
Never seen the one with Nick on it either. Yeah.
Well, that part too, but yeah. Okay, that's Mark C with a D. It looks like there. There's 70s.
Dude,
there's
70s
me.
is naked.
There's somebody's face, but I can't tell whose it is.
Oh.
And yeah, you're right. That's Gary.
And above us is Red Shirt and Tom. Wow.
Is that Red Shirt right there?
Yeah, that's Red Shirt.
I guess it is. It's not the same exact picture he's got up there, but kind of.
Thank you, Magic Boop. Appreciate it.
That was awesome, dude.
Thank you.
That looks like it must be a Spanish poster or something, or maybe Portuguese or something.
Let me get that other one. I know we got one other one from the lovely Sherry, because you know how Sherry, she wastes no time as well. So let me get that one. I'll upload it on my end.
It's Spanish, yep.
Yes. All right. And this one's from the lovely Sherry right here. And man, Gary's just so close with me.
Gary wants you, dude. But then again, awesome. Red Shirt's getting a little too friendly with me there.
Man, I guess this is just what happens when we have a gay panel. And then, yeah, Dustin, 70s.
Dustin's perfect as Olger. That looks
It really
perfect.
is. It's perfect. Thank you, Sherry. Thank you, Magic Poop. I do appreciate it. And we got, man, you guys are already going nuts with the super chats. Christian Dollar with the nerd Canadian Tuesday. It's old Milwaukee.
It's
time.
old
Thank you,
Milwaukee time. Yes.
And then Dash Attack for $5 says this movie's in a funny place. You could say the film is progressive at heart. I agree. Yet it is only despised for the stalking and the funhouse scene, and so much more. We will get into that. But we got two other gentlemen who have been very patient with us. Let's bring in the man who had an absolutely legendary show and a huge crowd yesterday on That's Talk and Roll with a now amazing beard as well. That's 70s rock.
Look
fan.
out, Randy Quaid! I'm coming for you. This is
So
Happy
New Year.
Happy New Year to you guys. I would just like to thank Sherry for not turning me into a woman, unlike Magic Poop.
Oh, you just set yourself up. Now she's going to just because you said that.
So there's a Canon Movies connection too with the cast, as Tom's talking about all the wonderful cast. There's a low-key great cast in this film. Donald Gibb, who was in Bloodsport, as he was the Ray Jackson, the other Jean-Claude Van Damme's buddy in Bloodsport. So I think I'm getting the right. Wasn't he in that? I'm pretty sure he was in that. So he was the kind of big beardy guy, but he plays Ogre in.
Oh
in
yeah. You're right. That is him
that's
from
Donald
Bloodsport. He's
Gibb,
also
I
in
think.
Stripes.
Donald Gibb.
Donald Gibb. Yeah, he's also
he's been in Stripes,
as
Conan.
well.
But yeah, he was famously in Bloodsport as the big rowdy beardy guy.
He was
okay.
Van Damme's best bud. The guy
he was his best bud in Bloodsport.
Who avenged him?
So it's funny, we had the Canon Movies thing yesterday, and there's a huge Canon connection there with Donald Gibb. But Mark, I'd like to pay tribute to you for what you had to do to prepare for this movie, because you had to put Mad's face on 7,107.32 boobs.
Correct.
That's the exact number of boobs that are in this film.
And math is hard. So.
In the fraternity,
Yeah,
anyway.
That's what I'm doing now. Yeah.
Like, there are 6,127 students, of which 58% of which are girls. So that's 7,107.32 boobs.
Oh, well, 70.
And that's why we all went to college, right?
Yeah.
The Canadian version of this movie must be much different. I don't remember that much boobage in this movie. I'm just.
Well, I saw it in Britain and at the cinema.
Oh, that explains it. Everybody's naked in those movies over there.
I do remember a lot of boobage, which it wasn't that exciting. I mean, I was already in my 20s, so it wasn't exactly.
Like you guys have that in like your children's programming over there.
Yeah, I mean,
and you give it and beer too, right? The kids can drink beer and
beer and boobs.
Oh hell yeah!
And then I think I've seen it once again.
They already got 3 mortgages by the time they're 12.
You have no idea how close to the truth that is. But I watched it at the cinema and then saw it, I think, once on VHS, maybe 2-3 years later. I'm not sure I've ever seen it again since. I can't recall watching it, yeah.
Wow.
But I do recall, as Tom mentioned, the music, the Rubinoos, one of my favourite power pop bands, obviously did the theme and a couple of other songs in this great little band, if you've never seen the Rubinoos play.
Yeah, it's a fun soundtrack.
Yeah. So, good to be here to talk about the boobs. I mean, about this movie.
You said boobs.
Can you do that calculator trick again? Write boobs on your
boobies
calculator.
upside down. Yeah, oh, God, we had so much fun with that. Digital calculators.
No, that was a trick that never, ever got old.
I think
Sean
we can
Connery,
get half.
Alex Trebek trick.
I think we can get half of the problematic shit out of the way up front with like, look, this is just the way college was back then. Like, panty raids were a normal thing.
That was an innocent. That was a much more innocent thing. I mean,
it wasn't.
cameras are a little different. But
Stealing your buddies in
like,
underwear and running it up the fucking flagpole was also a thing. Taking pictures of your buddies in the shower and posting them on bulletin boards is another that we heard about before the show.
The kind of
because
stuff
there
that
were
went
no
on.
interwebs back then. Yeah,
That kind of stuff that went on. It wasn't just aimed at sort of
Before
women. Guys did it to guys.
Before we talk about what men did to each other, which we will, we're going to talk about that. We still got one other gentleman who has been ever so patient.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. I know we're excited. This is good. I love the energy we're feeling right now. How's it going, Dustin? Happy New Year, sir.
Happy New Year.
Or should we say ogre?
Yes. So we started, getting away from boobs, which that's never a good plan. Like, what are guys doing to each other? I'm like, but we were just talking about boobies.
It's Toxic Tuesday. You know this is basically a tradition at this point. It always leads back to the dudes. It always does.
Dudes.
All
Matt's
roads.
not here. Where's Gerry?
I don't know where
backdoor's
Gerry
busy.
with a J is. What the hell?
His backdoor's busy, man. He's got like
he's
two.
backdoor Gerry.
Yeah, backdoor Gerry's busy, man.
I didn't say that, but it's funny.
Hey, it's a side hustle. You can't judge.
$20 is $20.
That's right.
I've heard it's not really a door; it's more of swing doors, like saloon doors.
I mean, I've heard things.
That's so fucked up. Okay, so
Do it.
another legendary cast member who we also I don't know how no one has brought this up in the chat or on the panel, but the guy who plays Gilbert is also Goose from Top of
Yes.
Anthony. Well, Tom mentioned Anthony Edwards.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I went to see Top Gun, I'm like, what the heck is the guy from the nerd doing with Tom Cruise?
Sitting in the back of a $20
James
billion
You should have known he was
fighter.
going to die. I mean, that's kind of a given, right?
I mean, that's what you want a nerd to be doing, sitting in the back of a $20 billion fighter full of advanced equipment. You want
Who else
a
is
nerd
going to know how to run that shit,
Exactly.
right?
So I've started
Fucking
watching
Tom
this
Cruise
movie.
ain't, I'll tell you that much. Sorry.
He's more focused on the blowing shit up thing.
Sorry, Dustin. Yeah.
Yeah, I started watching this with the commentary on. I didn't get very, I just watched the full movie without commentary, and I switched on the commentary to watch this. And that was when he was like, because Anthony Edwards was not one of the people on the commentary, but they were like, oh, look, it's Goose. So, I mean, I don't know how long ago they did this. But.
I think when they did the commentary, he may have still been. Well, no, it would have been a little bit after ER. Because this was an early DVD release. I remember buying the box set. Gosh, when was it? 2001, 2, somewhere in there? Was ER still on there?
It was around there because I remember I was in middle school then, and that was right around the time I discovered.
Actually, it was probably like
those
2004
movies.
for the anniversary, I think it was.
Okay. Yeah, I was around middle school around those years, and I remember discovering because one of our friends I was with at the time, he had access to all those movies, so it was one of those like we gotta get all the guys together to watch these movies because of course we did. That was like typical Friday night, the dudes getting together, and we all want to watch these movies for very obvious reasons. And it was kind of like the hey, Matt, and Matt at this classroom has access to this movie. It's got this and that. And it was like, oh.
This was one of the few R-rated films my parents actually let me watch when I was a kid. And I remember it was like, this was a movie that was always on HBO. And I know we say that about a lot of these movies, but I'm not kidding. Like every time I go to my cousins, they'd have HBO. This movie was on. I seen it almost every Christmas for like 5 years in a row. Not that I'm complaining, but like this was just
I'm not
such
going
a
to call this a Christmas movie.
No, but it was just one of those movies that was just such a part of my growing up. Like it was always there. So now that it's kind of disappeared due to Disney's bullshit, it really bothers me because it was kind of like comfort food in that sense.
The only part of that sentence I disagree with, Tom, is that you actually ever grew up.
Well, that's true. But when I do grow up, I want to be just like Chris Gore.
Exactly. It's nice to have ambitions, a goal in life.
Yes.
And I mean it in the best way when I say you didn't grow up. We should all remain children at heart. It's great.
So I'm not even sure the first time I saw like this movie not on regular basic TV. Like, because I think it would, they would play like the Saturday and Sunday matinee movies. That's how I saw this over and over as a kid. So I saw it without the boobies for a long time.
Oh
It's
wow!
only 20 minutes long then.
Yeah.
Did anyone
I
else
mean,
see it in the movie theater or Red?
I saw it in the cinema. Yeah.
I didn't get to see it in the cinema, but I did get to see it before it came out on video because of the way my dad used to get videos back then. But then, like I said, I saw it all the time.
Okay.
growing up.
You know that scene where they're all sitting on the couch watching the ladies do their thing? That was pretty much me and my 20 groups of guys doing the same exact same thing when we all discovered this movie for the first time. And we were pretty much up all night watching movies like this the way they were watching those ladies on camera. That was us.
I love it when Poindexter gets a boner and he's like, ah! It's like the first time ever.
His dancing.
Sorry, I can quote this movie in and out. Like this, that's how much I've seen this movie. It's pretty.
No, but his dancing is, and now all of a sudden he has to like alter his legs down like
During the Thriller scene, yeah.
It's so legendary. It's just like someone.
Are you ready for the sex, girls?
There and all these characters, and this is yes, someone mentioned earlier in the chat, and someone bring up about the whole progressive part. I mean, it is a actual diverse cast, but they're all fun, three-dimensional, well-rounded characters. Like you have Lamar, who's the gay man, and he's a gay man who, well, he's funny, he kicks ass, and he even like gives the guys shit for being all about the ladies, and he's funny for it. And of course, we got most of the chat.
Well, it's important to say too. I think he's openly gay in the movie.
Oh yeah,
So
very openly.
it's not hidden. You know, some movies. Are
Yeah.
something
Well, that's
is
what makes him
hidden.
a
I mean,
nerd. Yeah.
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 And then you got,
Well,
of course, Booger. You got Booger.
He's
And you
kind of
got
not really a
Poindexter,
nerd, though. Booger.
who literally is called Poindexter. Literally, even though he originally was supposed to have another name, like Lipschulz or something like that.
Booger is a nerd, but he's also the kind of guy who will do all the experiments, right? Like he's the kind of guy you talk into trying the shit out. You know what I mean?
He's an outcast. He's an
the
outcast.
lab rat.
He's
Yeah.
the
So
Bluto of the piece. So, yeah.
Yeah.
he's the
But
guy who
kind of
will
the
eat
cooler
anything
guy.
for $1. Exactly.
Yeah. I've lost
And
that with many friends where it's like, but he can't eat this, and the guy eats. And my buddy would always eat everything.
But he
We're
is
like,
the guy
"Oh."
they need, though, because he's the guy that gets them laid. He's going to get them drunk.
Yeah.
He's going to show them there's more to life than just books and bullshit, you know, like, yeah. And then, of course, you got the rest of the nerds in the back.
Takashi,
Takashi here, too, is, of course, can't forget him.
Wormser, Lewis and Gilbert, the main gentleman. And then I feel like
I can't remember the rest of them, but like the rest of them are kind of.
I remember
like
the core. I
secondary
remember the core.
characters, yeah.
I remember the core characters. For me, it's always about the core because they all had their own individual personalities and they all were memorable. They all had moments. Like obviously, like Takashi has his moment to shine. Wormser definitely has his moment where he just has conflicting points of view from different sides. We all know what scene I'm referring to. And then Wakashi with the bike. Booger has so many moments. Like they all have their moment to shine. And this is basically an ensemble casting. And they juggle these characters well, which is funny because the actors for Booger and I think Poindexter, originally when these guys saw their parts for the movie, they both liked the script, but they felt like their characters hardly had anything to actually be involved in the movie. So the actor who was Booger actually went out of his way to create a bio for his character, and then he went into a whole becoming of Booger using real life inspiration. And the actor who's Lewis actually went to University of Arizona to get into the whole university mode.
Hey, here's more trivia for you. So the actor that played Burke, who I'm not specifically sure which one of those guys, indeed, if it was one of those guys, but Matt Salinger.
Burke. Yeah. Yes.
He's the son of J.D. Salinger, famous writer.
Yeah.
The famous author, and played Captain America.
Yeah, Captain America. Yeah.
Yeah. So this cast is just trivia goldmine.
He's one of the jocks.
He's one of the jocks, yeah, Burke. He's not in this picture, but I can't specifically remember him as which one of the jocks. But J.D. Salinger's kid. I mean, that's pretty high class. I mean,
no, it's a well-rounded class, and you got a lot of people who were either about to blow up. People like
James
obviously
Cromwell.
like John Goodman, as
James
he was
Cromwell.
the coach,
yeah,
and
incredible.
Cromwell's Cromwell, it's funny because he's only in this movie for like a few minutes, but his part is very memorable.
Pivotal, you would say.
Yes, pivotal. And his inspirations too for where he got his laugh. It's great too.
It's interesting to see John Goodman in it because he's so young. It's
He's great in this, yeah.
And he's an athletic coach in it.
Best part is when he's getting them all riled up and they're getting the itch because they're all scratching and shit because their balls are burning. And he's like, all right, everybody get to the showers. Ah, shit, we forgot to practice.
That was ad-libbed, I read too. Yeah, I heard that they said that was an ad-libbed line by Goodman. All right, I got the slideshow ready. So here we go.
Oh yeah, let's do it.
There's a young Mark right there. That's you, Mark.
Yeah, very happy. Yeah,
And of course, this actor famously went through puberty during the making of this film.
yeah.
I'm sure he did. I'm sure they sped it up.
It was accelerated by that picture right there.
Because of course, between this one and the sequel, he grew like 12 feet. I mean,
yeah.
Certainly, probably grew a few inches there.
He was like taller than the rest of the cast by the second film, which is funny, but yeah.
And they said his parents were on set because he was. I watched a couple of the panels that they had at Comic-Con they had on YouTube, and in the beginning they were trying to make sure he didn't miss school or kind of shielded him from a lot of stuff. And after a few, like a week, his mom was like, "Oh, who cares? He's going to see this stuff someday anyway."
Liquid.
Well. And you got to let him have camaraderie with the rest of the guys, right? Like because otherwise. He's going to be feeling like an outcast, yeah.
They were trying not to swear around him, and because they're all they were young adults, in this movie, or in their 20s, and just after a while they just, of course I'm sure they weren't, too bad with him, but they after a while they kind of,
You're one of the guys.
let some things slide, yeah.
But let's talk about how perfect Robert, because honestly, they would have normally gave this at this time. I'm surprised they didn't give this role to I just forgot his damn name.
There was a few names that they're considering for Lewis's
the guy
role.
who played the nerd in like Grease, and he was always a nerd in everything. He has a really annoying voice like this. God damn, what's his name? Somebody in the chat will remember who he is.
Yeah,
for some reason I just blanked on his name. But he's a famous nerd.
Famous nerd.
And I can't believe they didn't give him the lead role, because you think they would, but like I see why they didn't, because I know he wouldn't have been able to do the dramatic stuff that Carradine does here. He just he does it so perfectly. He's like the perfect quintessential nerd. Eddie Deason, thank you, Sherry. That's what I was trying. I knew it was Eddie something.
Thank you. I like how the opening credits reminds me of almost like a video beta video game font. Seriously, it looks like a video game font.
Oh, that font, that's very 8-bit.
Right? It's
that's
very
old,
video game.
That's old computer
but
font.
That would be revolutionary at the time. That would look so modern.
Yeah, that was called cyber and advanced way back.
Very nerdy.
Bro, look at those credits, man.
I got the font.
War games would use that font.
I've always wondered, you have these computers, you said, were they even capable of doing the shit that they do in that one scene?
That's BS, or mostly
I figured
BS.
as much.
I mean, I have the Tandy color computer they used during the dance, and I'll point that out. You could do rudimentary graphics.
Commodore 64 level right now at that era, wasn't it? Or
there's your count. There's your count.
Here's your count.
There's the count. Yeah. So you had to go through and put something on every one of those boobs. Well done, sir.
It was
whether
a lot of work.
Needed it or not.
It was tough work, but I was glad to do it. But
it's a hard job.
You'd have to program your computer to do I did some basic graphics. Like I remember I did a Saturn rocket taking off. It took me 3 weeks to program the damn thing in basic, and it still didn't even look good. So when Anthony Edwards, this is like hitting the keyboard when they show that scene later.
Had tape cassette software.
Yeah, it was a cassette. It was a tape cassette. Yeah,
exactly.
What's funny though is Lambda did not become a real fraternity until 2006. But the Omega Moos were before that. And that I know because I actually dated an Omega Moo. Yes.
Was she cute?
Yeah.
Was he cute? Was he cute?
No.
Sorry, just kidding.
We were watching this, and all those Omega Moos were walking by, and I'm like, yep, maybe. Yeah. And my wife's like, what, you do them all? And I'm like, yeah, you know me.
What I love is Booger's like, the Moos, they're a bunch of pigs. And then they start coming in, and he's just like, yeah.
Yeah, mix out the two of them. Yeah.
So okay,
And those
I
are
wanna
real
ask you-
college act. Those are girls were in college too at the time. They were all
That
extras.
was
at the
mandatory.
Real college
uniform.
girls, yeah.
Yeah.
All right,
Look at
you
the-
know this, Tom. So is it who how did Cromwell get the laugh for that? You know that the laugh that they go
Was
do.
it-
You know this.
Was it him that came up with it first, and then they
was his
followed
ex-wife.
his lead? Was it his
That's
ex-wife?
right,
Yeah.
Mark. It was
They
his
said it
I was
ex-wife.
gonna
based
say
on
he's
his
the one who
ex-wife.
came up with it, and then they all copied it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
He
I'm
copied it
actually
from his ex-wife.
impressed. I'm actually impressed that they managed to get them two together because if you actually look at that, like if you didn't know who Cromwell and Carradine were, they do look like they have a believable, like, father son, like going to college like,
nose.
relationship. Like, yeah, they have the same like nose, facial likeness. So shout out to whoever did the casting because this was really well done with that.
So my question with how nerdy they are, right? So
Okay.
do you think over time that their image of what a nerd is was painting to what we thought nerdism was going forward, or was it a accurate depiction of what nerds already were?
Accurate. That was what a nerd was considered back then. You were a dweeb who used computers, and
I agree.
couldn't go out.
I
You
mean,
know,
like the
didn't have any
dress and
girls you
everything.
go out with. You dress and you had your pocket protector. I forgot to get my pocket protector and my
Ding-
slide rule out of
Bingo.
the basement. But,
Because this was also, like Mark was saying before too, this is also the beginning of the computer revolution. So this is also the time where nerds were becoming hot commodities. Like this is just on the cusp of the boom in Silicon Valley and shit like that, right?
Yeah,
Because
This is when, this is when my
84.
software career took off. Yeah. This is when
Yeah,
I
'cause you
started
would've
my
had-
software career.
Hey, you sound great, red shirt.
yeah,
So that's what I was
sounds
saying
good.
is
Good.
glad to hear it now.
There's Ogre.
Yeah,
There he
glad to
snuck in
hear
on this.
that.
is.
Nerds.
Get those Okay.
Ogre.
So I got two questions here. One I'll answer. Brian, the film was panned because one, a lot of people who were jocks were not happy. Also, critics were not happy because there's a lot of scenes here that, as we're gonna get into later, will definitely not fly under the rarity. There's a specific scene at a moon bounce. Like I said, we'll get to that. But I want to ask if does anyone here in the chat know this? Who do they almost cast for Ogre's part from WCW?
I did not know this, so you're gonna have to tell us on this one.
Yeah, I just want to see if anyone in the chat knows it. Obviously, I won't. I won't hold off
Hogan.
until
Hulk Hogan.
No, it wasn't Hogan.
No, he would have been too old yet at that
Too
point.
old by then, yeah.
Yes. Who did they try to get?
The Rock.
Not Macho Man,
Rock.
would it?
Well, it wasn't Macho Man.
The Rock.
No.
No,
Just
he was barely born. At
I
that
don't know
point.
that many of them. So.
It's okay. Obviously, those are names that are. It was Sting.
Oh, Sting.
What?
Sting. What happened was he did audition
What?
for the role of Ogre, and he made it to the near final cut, but then they
Really?
decided that he didn't have the right look at the last minute.
I'd
but
say
I'm glad Donald got the role. As big as a fan
Yeah.
as I was of Sting, I'm glad it went to Donald Gibb. It worked out because I couldn't help but think about where's Jean-Claude Van Damme when he needed him.
Well,
Right.
I love that they made Ogre one of the good guys in the second film.
Yeah.
Like, because he just works so
He's just a
perfectly.
good time guy.
Yeah, and I love his little. What if CAT actually spells dog? When they're stoned, because they're all stoned and they're coming up with like some really like existential shit, and then his thing is, what if CAT actually spelled dog?
Oh yes, no.
Then
and
they make
Mr.
him an
Tickle-
honorary nerd at the end, and they make him drink the green juice, and he starts. Yeah.
I didn't know the difference, Mr. Tickle Trunk.
I knew it. See, I love that Mr. Tickle Trunk caught on. He's just like it was all-
WCW was like the minor league back then compared to WWF.
They were, but then they start catching up to a point where they had Vince in serious competition mode for like what, about a year in '97.
Oh yeah, they were in trouble. Yeah.
And then
Everyone left.
Starrcade, the infamous Starrcade finale happened in '97, and that was the beginning of the end for WCW. that's a whole other rabbit hole. But that was the beginning of the end with the not fast count with Sting and Hogan's match, and then of course they're dragging on of the NWO and all that stuff. That's a wrestling panel, but I almost went on a tangent.
To get back to the reality of the matter, here's another reason why this movie was became is these guys were also starting to probably get scholarships. We got to remember that because, like, what you guys were just saying, like, this is when you guys got into your careers in computers. Like, that's what I was saying, too, is this is where the Silicon Valley was probably starting to give out scholarships to get guys to work for IBM and all that kind of shit back then. And Microsoft was just a blip, and Apple was getting big. And, I mean, that's where a lot of this probably comes from. And then the nerds started taking over a little bit. And we got to also remember back then sports was treated like, we understand this, but I know some of our younger audience might not see it this way because schools have changed so much. But back then sports were treated like the gold standard, right? Nothing came above sports. And that's kind of what this movie was commenting on. That's why these guys, they come in and they kick them out of their dorms and nobody does jack shit. Yeah. That would have happened in real life.
Yep,
Guarantee you, because the football team is 10 times more important than those fucking computer nerds. Like, that's the way they'd see it.
Yep. No, that's
so
really
the
how it
dichotomy at this time was, No, please go ahead.
The computer nerds would not bring in any donations from alumni, but winning the championship with a football team would.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Right.
Football tickets and everything. There's a lot of money involved. Basketball.
Yeah, plus everyone's, everyone goes to the homecoming game. Everyone goes to the games, right? So
because I think that's a
huge thing.
Because I think that's another thing that this movie was kind of commenting on, kind of like was the whole idea that before this, a lot of nerds went to tech schools or ITT school. They didn't usually go to like your typical, fraternity style colleges and stuff like that, And so they were starting to come into these kind of colleges, especially I'm sure in Southern California and stuff like that was really starting to get taken, over by the nerds. And I can see that that's where this kind of came from. And that's why I said by the time you get to the third film, the nerds have taken over the campus. That's the whole point. Like in that movie, it is more of the revenge of the jocks that spawns, the whole thing. But
yeah, well, because you look at 1981 is when the IBM PC came out. And actually the friend who I went to see this with, his dad worked for IBM. So, he had like, he had the first IBM at home. We're like, oh my God. And he's got, floppy drives on it. You don't have to use a tape drive. So for you young guys out there, we had computers with a cassette tape that you would like write down where the program was, like between numbers 5 and 8 or whatever, 5 and 20 to try to load the program through a tape. So my buddy's dad had the IBM 81, and that's when the computer revolution was just starting. So everyone who had trash 80s or TRS 80s. Apple, the old Apple II, I had those in schools, but that's, that was just hitting. So if you use those computers or you played D&D or you were a total, nerd, it was, got picked on but this movie has a much broader message too, which is great. That
absolutely,
when you look at it,
you want to talk about D&D. Wait a minute. I played Zork.
Which is a text adventure. Yeah, use your imagination.
Which is an old text adventure. Yes. Yeah.
It was fun. Yeah. All right. So, what was the first line in Zork? You're in a cavern with no lights, and it's dark.
Oh, no. The first line is you're outside of a house.
Okay.
You start out outside of a house in Zork,
and then you end up in a cave.
But my favorite in Zork was there were two mazes. One was you're in a maze of twisty passages, all alike. And the other maze was you're in a maze of twisty passages, all different.
No graphics, boys and girls. Just text. Like a
none.
book.
Yeah.
No, it just talked to you. Yep.
But it was fun, yeah.
Yeah, it was crazy.
But I do love the underdog message of this movie.
Well, that's what's different. See, and that's what separates this movie. I'm glad you mentioned that, Mark, because that was perfect segue was what I was going to lead to, because that's what kind of separates this movie from Animal House and Porky's, because you see those movies kind of center around the popular kids in school, whereas this centers around the other side of the school with the nerds.
Well, Animal House was the slackers versus
Yes.
the rich kids.
Yes.
Right.
This is more like, because the nerds, I mean, nerds kind of encapsulates more than just, you know, smart people. There's geeks and dweebs and shit like that too, and that's where Booger and some of these other guys come in as well that aren't necessarily, I would say, smart, but they could probably build a bomb.
There is this distinction between nerds and geeks that people argue about a lot. A nerd is more the kind of your goofy pencils in the
Yeah.
I'd argue
pocket. A
these
geek
guys
is
are
more
actual
someone that's
nerds.
just someone. A geek would be somebody that's just into shit, like they were into Star Trek or they were into.
I'd say these guys
computers.
are nerds.
Well,
They're
the
nerds.
term nerd is kind of taken over geek.
Yeah,
You're
they're
right.
nerds,
Yeah.
but geeks.
We got to get Raquel on to explain.
Yeah, she knows the
The
difference.
geeks and the
I
nerds.
would, yes, I agree that there is kind of, there used to be more of a distinction, but the two have now kind of
Yeah, they've
crossed.
kind of merged now, but they were different
Yeah.
because, like, I wasn't like one of those guys, but I was a geek. You know,
Yeah,
I'd
I'd
been in the
say-
military for 4 years by that time.
You
I saw
were a
myself as
pencil
geek.
neck geek. You're
No.
a booger eating
I was
pencil
a geek
neck
because
geek.
I was into shit. I was into nerdy shit, but I wasn't
Grit
a
eating
nerd.
freak.
Grit eating freak. Yeah.
I'd say I was definitely under the geek line. I definitely fell under the geek line, that's for sure. I definitely
I'll have
didn't
to play
know.
that on the next Mute Radio now.
Yes, you know.
Yes.
Hey, Lamar.
Nerds are more intellectual, he would say. Yeah.
Yes, yes. But there
Yeah,
is like a
definitely.
crossover.
I mean, geek
definitely.
is a very geek is a very old term that comes from sideshows.
yes.
Basically, those were the freaks that people went to, paid a dime to go look at.
Booker's just smoking.
Yeah, I gotta go back to the,
The geeks will inherit the earth.
look at the
Geeks will
Atari
inherit the earth.
2600 on the old TV, and that I don't think the Atari 2600 logo was there. Someone help me, or was that bright or that? I don't think the logo was there. I wonder if they put that there for the movie. So that'd be a shot.
Plausibly.
I
It
got
depends
it,
on which
mine-
version, I think. That might have been the newer version at that
Newer
time.
version. Mine's in the basement, so I can't check. But yeah.
Because, I think that's the smaller version that they put out. Because this would be 84, so it was late
84,
enough
right?
in the 80s. Yeah, so.
Maybe
That's-
it's a newer one. Yeah.
Okay, I'm glad Davina mentioned this. The opening credit song, I don't know how we glossed it over, and obviously it's unintentional,
It's the-
but that opening song is so freaking catchy.
What's the Ruben Ooze, isn't it? Isn't that the title song?
That's,
Oh.
yeah.
That's what I'm saying. They're one
so
of the great
good.
power pop bands of all time.
That's
Listen to
actually
their-
a damn good tune. I've
Listen-
never looked beyond that song, but damn, that is good.
Listen to one of their first 2 or 3 albums. Brilliant stuff.
Now
There's
I
a
actually
lot of,
looked at-
like,
hold on. I
high-end-
see comic books. Mark.
Are those magazines or comic books?
What was that?
Well,
One
Tom
of
is
them,
right.
Go back.
We'll go back.
It looks like
ARRKEN.
DC. Looks like a DC logo at the top left corner. That blue and white DC logo.
Might be, yeah. If anyone can recognize that.
Is it
no,
Green
it's not.
Arrow?
No, it's not
Nope.
Green Arrow because
No, I can't tell. Yeah.
Oh, now I want to know what it was. Ugh. All right. Anyways, we got.
Oh,
quick
and what just
direct
wrote-
no. I want to address.
Back here, Shocker! Shocker! You can't escape me! I'll chase you to the ends of the earth!
Always with
Something
Raymond
was
G-
something 2000 was the other one. I couldn't read it though.
Probably Heavy Metal 2000.
I don't know.
Raymond G. Stanley for 556 Direct Donor says, great show, friends. Super fun, everybody. I laughed good. Thank you, Till Frey. Thank you, Raymond, for the 556, and have a great evening. If you left, sorry if I got to a little late. Thank you. And then this is where the first seed is planting for what is to come between Lewis and Betty. It's
It's kind of like the anti-grease, right? Where they
Yes.
It is kind of. Yeah. Well, Grease 2 tried this, and that's Grease 2 did do this actually. Yeah.
Oh, we got an answer here. Or at least some people think it is Arion.
Oh, it could have been that
Arion,
maybe.
son of
yeah.
Atlantis. Okay, I never actually read that book.
No idea.
Yep.
Was that DC chat?
And I just want to.
Go ahead, Richard.
I just want to point out that the Pixar movie Monsters Inc. practically stole this story.
That's
to
what I
make
was
the movie.
saying the other night. We were watching this, and I'm
Yeah.
like, man, this
Yeah.
reminds me of well, not necessarily Monsters Inc., but like the Monsters University.
Oh, yeah, I
Monsters
said the same
University.
thing.
Yes.
Yeah, I said the same
Yeah.
thing.
Okay. Yeah, I must have been somewhere else.
No. I mean, in my review when the movie came out. Sorry. Like when the movie actually came out, that's what I said in my review. I'm like, they ripped, like in natural form, Pixar rips off another movie, and this time it was Revenge of the Nerds. So yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I never put that correlation.
Yeah,
together,
because
though
we
I
watched
should have.
Monsters University. Yeah, I mean, I watched Monsters University just a few days ago. Watched this
I
this
remember
morning,
liking it.
and was in both cases was reminded of the other movie.
Wow.
Yeah.
I love this
But
bit here.
this is the one that started it. Yeah. Oh, no. Yeah, no. That doesn't work. See,
What the
you
fuck
lose.
is a frush?
I got 2-7.
See here, you got too many cards here. Let me take these cards away and give you
Yeah,
5 fresh new cards. Oh, thank
I've actually played poker with somebody who played like that. That was the last time I played with him.
Hey,
Now-
was this movie before Stripes or was this after Stripes?
After
This is
Stripes.
after.
All right,
After.
so he
Now,
learned to
I
play
wanna
poker
ask-
from John Candy.
After, yeah.
The actor who plays Takashi, has anyone heard him speak outside of these movies? Because I always wonder if,
Oh, yeah.
like, if that's how he actually sounded, or if
No, he
do
sounds
that
like
for
he
the
sounds when he does
stereotype.
Leonardo. When he does Leonardo, that's his real voice.
Oh,
can't speak
yeah, you're right,
Japanese.
Leonardo. Well,
Because he's
did-
also in the Police Academy movies.
What?
Yeah. He's in Police Academy 3.
Whoa.
I'm trying to scroll down.
3, 4, and I think 5, maybe even. I know he's in at least 3 and 4.
I thought there was only 3 or 4. There's 5 of them.
Oh, there were
Wow.
like. I think
Are you
there
kidding
was,
me? There's 7, dude.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
and 2 TV series.
There is too many of them.
No, well, the first one.
Don't
was
forget
good.
the 2 TV series, too. There was a cartoon and a live action series that had Jones and a few of the other people pop up here and there. Tackleberry, I think, even made an appearance in that before he passed away.
Wow.
So we got some programmers in the
computer
audience.
nerd.
Look at line 53. Line 53 is not doing anything. That's ridiculous. That's Garbaggio. What kind of code is that? I'm just joking.
Yeah, but somebody
and then
got
I
paid
think-
a lot of money for that line.
Yeah, I mean that's
That
not even
was 2 hours of a contractor's money.
they're like not even trying to do anything. And then J's equal 100 XL. Come on, what's going on? Well, anyway, but I was just laughing at that. And I think they typed, is that rum? I think they typed rum, or is it really rum?
Police Academy came
That's
out
a
the
joke.
same year. We weren't talking about Police Academy. We were talking about something else. I don't know where Police Academy came in.
Police Academy came in because the guy who plays Toshira is in that, too.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Brian Toshi, because Nick was curious if his voice was like that, if he actually had the accent, and I said no, he actually sounds more like when he does Leonardo.
Yeah,
That's what
so
it
now,
sounds like.
now I
Japanese,
realize
American.
he was going for the stereotype. With
Oh
that.
yeah, he played that up in all of his roles. Yes,
Something that would absolutely cause a big ol' up in arms if that was done.
can you really
today.
say shit though? Because I mean,
With
it's
the
kind
whole,
of like
hey,
it's kind of
that
like Pat
whole-
Morita. That's not Pat Morita. Don't sound like Mr. Miyagi at all. Like we've all seen Happy Days. Okay,
No.
he sounds
Yeah.
just
Oh,
like
yeah.
a regular American.
And MASH. Yeah,
And MASH. That's right. He was in MASH too. Yeah.
And was there a movie he was in called Night Patrol where he played like a gay prostitute?
Was he in? I see because the one
I know there was.
there was a couple movies with similar names, and I always get them flip flop because
Yeah,
there was
yeah,
the one
yeah.
with
I'm
Mike.
trying to- yeah.
That's not the one with Michael Keaton and the Fonz, right?
No.
So there was
I'm thinking of
another
the
one
other
around the
That was
same
Night
time with a
Shift.
similar. That was Night Shift. Okay, so Night Patrol you might be right. Yeah, see, those
Okay.
are the two I always get the names flip flopped on.
Let me look it up here real quick.
Oh, and I got to go back to that computer graphic when they were talking
Yeah.
about that. You know,
Because
that
that's what I
cheesy
was
graphic.
asking. Is that even fucking possible then?
Well,
Oh,
you
'cause
could have
Night
done it,
Patrol
but it
had
was
Linda Blair in it.
yeah, you could have
Not
done
on
it.
a normal monitor. You couldn't. You could have done it on the
EGA.
graphics monitor.
Yeah, I mean, you'd have to have a
The-
graphics for
the
back
Hewlett-
then. You
the
could do
Hewlett-
primitive. Yeah, you're right.
The
Yeah,
Hewlett
you're
Packard
100%
could
right.
do that. It could draw curves.
You guys
Yeah,
are nerds.
But your regular monitor was text only.
Well, that's what
Text
they're here
only,
for.
yeah.
God damn it, we need specialists.
I'll just say I
Yeah,
don't
so
know
if you
what the
had
hell you guys are talking about. You guys are nerds.
Well, because one of the first computers I had that had graphics had monochrome graphics like this, and it was a special monitor that cost like $600, and it had a graphic. I said butts, so I guess I'm in the nerd mode. And you had he said butts.
You
And
said butt.
you had
He
to
said
buy like a special
butts.
graphics card. So my
Butt.
first CAD software at work was like, monochrome graphics.
Davina
like,
says it's raster graphics. I think so.
Yeah. But the idea that he could actually program
Exactly what
this,
it was.
Raster
Yeah.
graphics like dreads and
But-
smoking dope and big
No, not
Raster,
Rasta.
Raster
Rasta.
graphics, man.
Raster.
All right, sorry.
No, you needed a special.
It's
You're
the-
right.
He heard it in
You
his
needed
accent.
Special hardware.
I think Raster
You needed
graphics
special
sounds
hardware to
cooler.
do this.
He heard
So
it
what
in
was
his
the
accent.
start?
That's-
what was hysterical was the director was talking and one that's awesome. In one of the
If you had
commentaries-
Rasta graphics, if you had Rasta graphics and the terminal started to smoke, you just leaned over the back and sniffed it.
sniffed it.
Shout out to Monkey Jesus
Contact
for
high.
sending this to me.
A lot of
This
mercy.
is very horrifying to look at.
It is
I nailed
weird,
it.
but it fits.
I got one more. I'm not even done yet. I'm not even done. I got a whole other one. You just keep the show going. We're going to get, but
Yeah.
there you go, guys. There you go. Mia's worms are
Why does that fit so well? That's freaky.
That's awesome.
I have buck teeth. I look fucking awkward. With buck teeth. I
Were
look
you
like
even
I
born?
look like a gopher or something. Like I look at like I need to like chomp on some. I was gonna say wood, but then I just walked into a gay joke.
Either,
Were you even
Yeah,
either
born
that
yet?
or
I
a
know,
carrot.
I know some of us
Oh.
were probably closer to Wormser's age when this movie came out, but were you even born yet, Nick? Like you were a couple of years yet.
I wasn't born yet when this came out.
I was gonna
No.
say.
I was
I-
four
So you didn't
when
see
it
this in
came
the
out.
theater.
I say half of us were like Wormser and the other half were 4. Yeah.
So basically, I'm the Wormser of this group. So this is actually kind of
Yeah,
technically
kinda fitting.
if we're
Wait a
being
minute,
fair.
did he grow up to be Dean Wormser? Or no, that's a different. That's close, very close though.
That was his grandpa.
That was his grandfather.
You're on double secret probation.
Double.
Here comes the basketball. in this scene.
You gonna eat that?
Oh, dude, the jock strap.
Do you know karate? No. Good.
Dude sticks the pants on him.
Okay. I have a middle school story to share because it involves bathrooms and it involves jock straps and shoes of how I got revenge. So if anyone in the chat has a weak stomach, you'll survive. You'll survive.
Maybe.
And this
So
movie is just.
I had an issue with a few classmates, and it's not that gross. It's just definitely like, oh damn it, Nick. And I got back at the guy, and one dude decided to leave his shoes behind and his jock strap behind.
Uh-oh.
And I drink a lot of Mountain Dew, and I mean like a lot. Like I drink like about.
Oh, you didn't do it. You didn't do it.
did
Nick,
it.
did you?
I did it. Let's just say I filled up the
He did
shoe
it.
and I filled up the strap, and I had to leave the school, but I heard from other classmates that he put his foot in the shoe and he
Ooh.
felt the big puddling sensation.
Nice.
That warm sensation.
Oh, he had
I
a
had-
very warm sensation.
I had a roommate once who had a boombox that he left in the common room of the house we rented. And he used to leave it on while he left and went to his room, and it would just play all day. And he had terrible taste in music. So one day when he was downstairs in the basement in his room, I just took the back off the thing and with a pair of diagonal pliers, snipped one of the resistors and put the back on. So yeah, that didn't bother me anymore after that.
You know, after I've seen this movie and the sequels, I don't know how many different times, like I said before, but I decided now I think I'm going to start a website called Booger's Shirts. Like all the shirts that he wears. If you notice, he's got a
you
slew
go.
of them there, and every one of them is funnier than the last. Like his last one was
Yeah.
Greasy Tony's.
Yeah.
What the fuck is that?
Well, he was on one on the in the panel on the Comic Con.
This is the other one. Yeah, head till I'm dead.
Yeah, they said, "Where can we get your shirts?" He's like, "He always gets." He said, "I think someone made some shirts years ago." He's like,
Yeah,
I
they're
wish I
all
still
made
had
for
all
the
the
movie.
shirts." Yeah, he's like, "I wish I still had them."
Give me head till I'm dead, and then Who
Yeah.
Farted is the other one he ends up, and then the second one he has a bunch of good ones too. Yeah.
And I
All
think they
right.
made fun of this scene in Family Guy because God, I need a montage to fix up my house. It's like
Family Guy
into the
had a
house.
lot of callbacks to Revenge of the Nerds. Yeah.
Hey, 70s. You want to
Yeah.
see yourself as Booger?
Oh God.
Magic Poop came in hot.
There we go.
Which is funny because I'm probably the booger of the group, to be honest with you.
I
Let's
hate
be
to say
real
it,
here.
but that's kind of what I looked like at that age. It was actually my hair was that bad. Oh, except I was in the military, but before I was in the military, my hair looked just like that. That could be
With
me.
the baseball shirt.
Yeah, that would have been me. Absolutely. Except there would have been a T-shirt like the Who or something. But, you know. That is
Come
so
on, that's a
close.
great shirt that you got from Booger's Shirts.
I admire that picture. That's a good one. That's the past I wish I had.
Which is weird because I'm probably the closest one to Booger, but yeah.
Thank you, Magic Poop. That was legendary.
I know, Mark. Did you see the private chat?
I didn't.
I made a
I've been
request
downloading
for you.
photos.
I'm trying to make a meme myself. But
Oh yeah, sure. Oh yeah, I got you. One
while I'm on the
right
show,
up.
I'm actually trying to make a meme. So.
Yeah.
Yes.
This is, yeah. Oh, nice Yamaha Seika. That was a nice bike. But
Oh, yeah.
yeah. So
What are you looking at, nerd? Well, I thought I was looking at my mother's old douchebag, but that's in Ohio.
Dude, I
chick
love
cracked
that
me up.
line. I laughed.
So I
still
said
to this
Booger
day,
has the
man.
best fucking lines.
But you know what's weird on the AMC edited version I watched? They said, "I thought I was looking at my mother's old douchebag," and then they cut out, "But that's in Ohio." I'm like, why did they edit that out?
Aw. For Philo, right?
that makes absolutely no sense whatsoever.
It makes
yeah.
no sense at all. No, I'm like,
Nope.
I understood the other edits, but that one made no sense.
Unless they meant to cut out douchebag and didn't. Like,
Screwed up.
like I thought I was looking at my mother,
Go
but that's
Baldy.
back in Ohio or something like that. Maybe they were trying to cut it down too.
I think Paulie's finally coming out about his mutual attraction towards us. After saying how gay our show was, he's now admitting it. It's okay, Paulie. The feelings are mutual. They're very deeply mutual.
Oh no. So you got too many cards here. Or too many kings, that's what it is. Jesus Christ.
All good. All good.
You take these
Get
three,
rid
and
of
I'll
those,
give you
yeah.
3 more.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. What is a hair pie?
So what? So
out
Tom,
later.
you know what the title was almost of this, right? The Spanish title. It was almost the Spanish title of it was Revenge of the Freshmen. I'm so glad we did not get that title in America because that does not sound anywhere as good. Even though there's
Probably because they
obviously
didn't have
proof
an
of that.
equal word. Well, Paulie's in the chat right now. Is there a word that would have been better to use in the Spanish-speaking countries instead of nerd? That might be why they might not have a word for
I
that.
think the word was Polly.
Revenge of the Paul.
Revenge of the Pollies.
Oh,
You know what's
damn.
funny though is considering this movie doesn't have much of a plot, it's still a very
Got a plot.
not really. I mean, it's
There's no plot.
well, it's kind of it's what you would call there's no driving force to the movie. You know what I mean? Like they're not like on any kind of ticking time clock. They're not like they're not going to lose their house or something. You know, there's not like this urgency to the end of the film. You know what I mean? They're not leading towards anything. The whole climax is them getting their fucking revenge, right? Like that's the revenge of the nerds. But it's just, this movie is so tightly knit, right? Like it comes out at a time where we had some great films as far as being cut well. Every scene means something. It leads to the next, bit. I mean, this is a great scene. Look at it. All these scenes are great. They're so memorable, right? Like they know they're fucked, right? Like,
Well, the director's actually still got to start as an editor, and he would edit
That helps.
trailers. And then he said to save money, he started his own business because he got fired from his job, and then he said he had to edit porno movies to make money to keep his doors open at his business. So, and then he ended up, I think, editing The Graduate and a couple of big movies to get his start. But he always wanted to go back to directing. So it was interesting to listen to that. You know how he got his shot, and he had to fight, to get to this position, but. He did end up, helping edit, I guess, the movie, even though directors are not supposed to from listening to the commentary. But
and now you guys were with the thing you had like some deleted scenes, and I don't remember all what's in those deleted scenes because I didn't watch it. But I do know there was one subplot that was cut out, and it was about Ted McGinley's character. His brother is a nerd.
Okay.
And so he secretly has like this thing with this, and it's a whole big subplot with his character and his brother, and he's secretly kind of a nerd too, and it all got removed. So like that's the only thing that I know of that got kind of like excised that was way different from the movie we got anyway.
And they also cut a scene in Vegas where one of the nerd's dads was very racist when he found out that he was, in the Lambda, when he found it was a black fraternity. So he's yelling some slurs in
I didn't see that one.
Yeah, it was cut. It was cut. Yeah. So they had the Blu-ray that had a bunch of those scenes, and it made sense to cut it. But just and the other
did those scenes have anything with his brother at all, or was that
didn't mention his brother? It was his uncle in Vegas who was super wealthy. And,
okay.
It was like and that's when the UN is speaking. That scene they added to take that spot when UN is telling him that they've been accepted to the fraternity. The guys have been accepted. So, but it was a good scene to cut out. And the other scene when the jocks they beat up the nerds at the end. And they said they cut that scene out because it was too nasty. Like you couldn't laugh. It kind of brought the whole movie down. So they had some.
Yeah, that wouldn't make it feel like the Revenge of the Nerds at that point, because the nerds still technically lose out if they're getting beat up at the end.
Well, Phantom brings up the only real plot element is that if they win the carnival, they get a seat on the council. But how far are we already into the movie before that element is even introduced? And it's not the penultimate of the film, is my point. The penultimate of the film is when Anthony Edwards' character has his moment, right? And
Gilbert,
everybody has the big
Gilbert
speech moment. Like, that's the climax of the film there, basically. Yes. And when the dean finally turns on John Goodman and such.
Yep. And then you're all rooting for the nerds at that point.
And I would just and as a former marching band member, I'd like to point out when he says all of you who are nerds and who've been rejected and abused, come on over here with us, and the entire band.
Yes. Yes. That's hilarious. It's funny, Poindexter, the glasses he has on are real, and he can't see a fucking thing. So him bumping into everything is real.
Yeah, I heard something about like the glasses were like very thick or something like that.
Yes, he insisted on it. So like in between scenes, he had to actually have an assistant help him around the set and stuff.
I love that dedication to the craft. Seriously, like all these nerds, they all were so dedicated to their parts. Whether it was Lewis, actually going to university, or Poindexter with the glasses, Booger being Booger. Like that's freaking no, but it's true. I love the crap that these guys put into these characters. I love it so much. Yeah. It really makes you feel like, oh man, if you saw these guys in real life, like that's definitely that's a fucking nerd over there. Like,
well, they're more than just nerds. They're the outcasts too, right? Like that's the whole point of the speech at the end, right?
Yes. And their name here, the Lambda, that name was actually taken for a national college team in 2006. Actually,
yes, yeah, I brought that up earlier. Yeah, because the moves
I
were.
missed it. Sorry,
I don't know if the moves were already when this movie came out, but like I said, actually dated a woman who was an Omega Mu. She had the little fucking thing and everything, and yeah.
Okay. Well, I apologize. I missed that.
It was a way after she was in college, and it was like, yeah, we were adults, but like, you know. I found her shit, and I'm like, wait, you were in a mega moo? And she's like, yeah. Like, you're shitting me. She's like, no, I'm not. I'm like, holy shit, I'm a nerd.
All right. We got some super chats to catch up on, and we finally got an answer to our question from Dyrus for $2. Thank you, Dyrus, for $2. Says Arion, Lord of Atlantis, number 17. Thank you for that. And then Joe's Atmosphere sends in a
That's the one.
chat.
That's the comic book, I guess, evidently.
Yes, that is. And then
Not
he
yet.
sends in a super chat in a direct donation. Thank you. Yes, you did not miss the panty raid for $1.99. And he sends in a direct donor for $1, saying Foxy and I are watching Poindexter on the West Wing right now. Have a great stream, folks. Well, thank you for your donos. All right.
Sorry, that makes me
No.
fucking
You're good,
time.
man. You're good.
This
You're good.
party scene is great. Then he puts on the swing low, sweet chariot.
That was
There's the line here. Yeah, there's a line here. Yeah, they're a bunch of pigs, and he's picking his nose.
Oh,
Yeah.
Poindexter's finger. Holy hell. I remember, oh shit, he got his finger off. I actually thought he actually had lost his finger at that point in time. I thought he had, I was like, damn, Poindexter lost his finger.
You
But
mega
lucky it's
moves
just
really
like
know how
five.
to party.
Well, all it took was some drugs, and well.
Yeah, she had a
um,
sweatshirt just like that with a little horseshoe thing on it and everything. Yeah.
She had it. Yeah.
Yep. I found her shit. She had a little cow and she had that in the closet. And I'm like, wait a minute, what the fuck is this shit? Like,
You're like, my girlfriend's in Revenge of the Nerds.
I was like, what the hell is this? Because I said to her, I'm like, you
It's
were a
real
mega
sorority.
That's what I said to her. I'm like, is it a real sorority? She's like, yeah. I'm like, you're fucking shitting me. Like, I was like beside myself at that point. I'm like, wow.
Like, yes. My girlfriend knows how to party.
I'm like, can you wear it tonight?
And every day after.
Isn't it amazing how drugs just changes everything? Like, because obviously you see everyone's looking like, and I know what it's like to be at these parties and everyone's just sitting there, and all of a sudden all it takes is that one thing and everyone's just freaking going nuts, whether it's like the booze or the weed. That's all it takes. I remember, because even though I didn't go to college, there's a college campus about 40 minutes to me. I would just go find a random place and just act like I knew people and just party and just blend it in and try to. Whoa, was that bad?
Oh god, yeah.
Actually, kind of looks like
It's kind of weird.
Oh, we got
I
another one
see
here.
Monkey Jeebus has been sending me some stuff, but he sent it to me my Twitter. Let me see if he sent it in emails
All right,
too.
it's probably more greatness. Guagnar says the other comic book on the bed is Camelot 3000 issue 10.
I knew
You
it said
guys
some
are-
number. There you
thank
go.
you.
Thank you,
You guys
Greg.
are
you
bang
guys.
on.
Man, this is great. All right, yeah, I'm getting we're all getting flooded with memes and such as we go along. Thank you guys for doing this and participating in it. This has been fucking
fun.
awesome.
And check out this one I just got.
Oh.
That kind of looks like you.
Oh god, yeah.
Handy Randy would be very proud of this. Just saying. If Handy Randy, if you're out there listening, you would be proud of this.
Well, look at the I got these when I was applying, but yeah, scene was so great. And Buzzfield explained on the Comic-Con panel too, where he got the laugh from. He said his brother and they were watching a movie.
Yeah.
No, they're watching Late Night with Johnny Carson. It was the sound went off commercial break, and he hears a couple having sex, and the girl is yelling like, "You're so awesome," and then she's making these noises. So that's the noise that she was making. So he copied that
Wow.
noise. Yeah, like he was living in an apartment
Wow, I
building.
did not know that. That is.
I was today
wow.
years old when I discovered that there was an O laugh.
Oh! This is where the
There we
the
go.
dad,
There we
the
go.
dad's where he
Yep.
he gets his legs. Oh,
He's so good in this. Yeah.
I
It's
can. I
classic.
will say I do know a guy who that kind of happened to. Wait, I do know who. So now who that happened to? Mark, did you get a new camera?
Yes, I did. Yeah.
Your movements are like that much freakier. It's just like
Oh, they're freakier?
whoa. It's like Mark is in front of me.
Is it-
It's like
is
you
it
are the
worse?
nerds. No, your camera looks really good. It's like super high end and nice. I'm like, man.
Yeah, it was
Mark
on
looks so
sale
much more
over.
real.
It was on sale over the holidays, so I got a half price Logitech Stream Cam. But I guess I don't know. I got to do whatever I can to make myself look better. I guess, but does it have I got to find the skinny filter on it, but I haven't found that yet.
If you get one, let me know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the
That
and the
makes
hair
3 of us.
filter.
Oh, dude.
He's having fun there. You ended up.
Look at
Oh,
that
Tommy,
face.
Tom and I
Casey
don't.
is great.
Tom and I don't have to worry about a hair filter. We've already been through it.
Oh wow, look at that photo booger right there.
You
Seriously, go
moves
back.
really know how to party.
Yeah.
That was a face on booger. Seriously, that was like, I'm just saying. If you go back to that face, that that one too. Look at him.
Yeah.
He looks possessed, like with those teeth.
He
and
does look like a
everything.
little demon, doesn't he?
Oh, he's in heaven right now.
That's true.
Party time.
This is booger about to lose his virginity, probably. So
Yeah.
that's how it makes sense. Yeah.
To 2 moves at once, basically.
We need more cowbell.
Oh man.
Oh,
Well, we
Lord.
don't have cowbell here, but we do have shaka. So instead of
Shaka
cowbell, we
Khan.
have
Shaka Khan.
no, we have shaka here. The infamous. Oh, man, those looks are evil.
You sure can.
Back here, Shocker! Shocker!
I had to. We have shocker. Since you all got cowbell, we got shocker. It's the next best thing. We've got bush. We got pie. It's all about the pie.
We've got Bush. We've got Bush.
I've
Yeah.
always been more of a key lime flavor type of guy, but that's a conversation for another day. Key lime was always my kind of pie. Oh, here's a conflict of interest here.
Yeah. I actually went to college with a guy who came in when he was like 14.
What?
He was a math genius. And this
Oh, okay,
reminds
makes
me of him at a party. This reminds me of him.
When I was in high school, we had a guy that, well, he was a little kid. They'd bring him over from elementary school to do math at our high school, and he
Yeah.
would carry around a stuffed alligator. I mean, he was that young. He'd come over to do math,
Wow.
but then like he'd walk the halls and he'd have
Like fucking Rain Man.
he was a little kid. He was like 9.
No, Dustin, that's where he kept his stash.
Maybe. He probably had some good shit, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Man, Tom, that's a nice set of hair. Like you got like
I
a
finally
bush
got
on
some
your
hair.
head. That's a bush.
Yeah. I got a Jufro going on.
We will praise Tom's bush because someone's got to do it.
Well, Bush
I
came
had
to our
to.
college. Bush came to our college in Fairfield.
HW.
HW, yeah, the elder, and they guys at one of the townhouses there put a huge banner up said all Fairfield men love Bush.
Here, I'm thinking the band, and I'm like, HW, what do they to do with the band?
And they're
Yeah.
like they
Did
couldn't
they
get him
lo-
to take it down. Yeah.
But some of them loved Dick Cheney, didn't they, as well?
You didn't want to get too close, you might get shot.
Oh.
Peppered.
Peppered.
Pepperidge. Shotgun remembers.
Wait. Oh, wait. No, wait.
This is
wait.
great here. This is so
I
funny here.
love this.
Would you rather live in the ascendancy of a civilization or during its decline? Poindexter.
You wanna fuck or not?
Yeah. The director told the actress to grab him in the crotch there, like he didn't know that was coming. So she told him to.
Look how genuinely shocked he looked. Go back.
Yeah.
He looked genuinely
Yeah.
shocked. That was a
Yeah,
shock to
so
the
she told him
crotch.
like just grab him in the crotch.
Just look at his eyes. Look into those eyes as he gets that crotch shot. Like, seriously, like
Yeah,
that. Now that right there.
See what smoking marijuana will do to you.
This
And look,
drug
these guys
stick.
have the space shuttle
The devil's
pose.
weed.
Total nerds, like space shuttle.
Man, our boy here looking very.
He
dapper.
didn't even
Smoking
bring.
jacket.
Oh,
Like,
that's-
a suitcase.
that's- That is the Hugh Hefner look right there.
Yep.
With
Yep.
the silk robe and the pipe.
I love it.
He brought like literally a suitcase of clothes. Where did that come from?
You just go with it, and then the pigs happen. This
Well, he
is where
probably
it starts to
brought that. He
really
was
heat
get-
up.
He was probably ready. Like he thought this was college, and they don't know they're nerds, right? They don't even.
Well,
they don't
Yeah,
think
you
they're
don't
nerds. They
think-
thought they were going to score, right? They're
He
Yeah.
did make a
men now in college.
specification to Gilbert that it was not about getting girls; it was about getting women. He did say that
Yeah, that's
earlier
true,
in the movie.
women,
He
yeah.
specified, yeah.
Well,
Women,
did we jump over the one part where I believe this was the part where Lamar was the only one in the group who had a date?
That's right.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. He's like, he's got a guy, so that doesn't count. Type of thing. A line that would have been absolutely canceled this movie today.
Well, what's funny is the actor who played Lamar for years. Oh my God! Look at all the Mads.
Oh god.
You can see the Mads just hanging everywhere.
Oh, this is
Mads,
Andy Ra-
Mads. Just tons of Mads.
An embarrassment of Mads.
An embarrassment of Mads.
This is Handy Randy.
But yeah, so the
galore.
actor Larry B. Scott, who played Lamar, he got pigeonholed. People thought he was actually gay. He was so good at the role that like
fucking
casting
owned it.
agents and shit thought he was gay. So they would.
believe it.
So he had to try very hard to break out of that mold, and he thinks that's probably what kind of sadly stunted his career to the point where it was at. But yeah,
He
And they
got
said he was the best
pigeonholed.
athlete too out of the group too. He was
yes.
actually in the best shape and the best. When he's actually pulling himself up the rope, they said that was him pulling himself up
Yep.
the rope without his legs in the movie. Yeah. And this scene is pretty
Wow.
sad too. When I mean, this is finally where you see how nasty these guys are.
I
just
say we
trying to
blow the
party.
fuckers up.
Yeah.
That's when he realized, oh, okay, these guys are just trying to get by in life, and well, yeah, the jocks, man, this is where you see it's like it starts at now the nerds are like we're tired of this shit, we're gonna fight back because
Yeah, the Germans
we're at
just-
the turning point. This is the turning
Germans
point.
just bombed Pearl Harbor, so
That's the German storming Pearl
Yeah,
Harbor.
that's the
Right
scene
there.
here. Yeah, like if anything, this is probably one of the few scenes that really feels Animal Housey, but you need it, right? Like,
Yes.
Well, it's
Yeah.
only so much you can do with a nerd
Right,
fraternity thing. Yeah, I mean, it's in this scenario.
well, what's
It's what
funny is
gives-
it does not get compared to Animal House now as much as it did when it first came out. Believe it or
Yeah.
not.
I
Yeah.
think it's. I mean, I can understand the comparisons to a degree, but I don't feel like it's like it's like a copy and paste. Obviously, yes, there's fraternities, there's college, there's partying, there's naked ladies. I get it, but once again, this is a actual. Well, I don't want to say a revenge story, but kind of it is in a more lighthearted, comedic sense.
I mean,
I say we
obviously in
blow the
Animal
fuckers
House, Delta weren't nerds, although Anthony Edwards could have been, you could have seen him in one or two of the roles in Animal House. In Delta House, there was the kind of nerd, there was a nerdy-ish guy in that. But otherwise, there's two different sets of people, really, coming at it from two different areas. I mean, these guys are the downtrodden, Delta were the ones that were... Yeah, Delta were fighting against the establishment fraternities, but at the same time, they were wreckers. I mean, they weren't exactly naive or easily pushed around.
It's kind of like weirdly prophetic in a way too, and like how they're really railing against like the jocks, and the jocks kind of like rule the roost on everything. They talk about how they want to oversee their own decisions that they make. I'm like, man, that sounds a little oddly familiar to things that actually happened today. And there you go, guys. You asked for it.
Oh yeah,
You
here we're gonna be in
wanted-
trouble.
you wanted-
Got
the raid.
Bush.
Yeah.
And this
And
is
I-
hysterical that they said the silent Joel's got a silencer because the actors are saying like the actors came up with that. That drill is pretty damn loud. But yeah, there's not many battery powered tools
Well,
back then.
that's
That's an
like,
AC powered drill, but
Jo-
that was all, who cares?
John Belushi in
awesome.
Animal House with the ladder. going along the side of the house.
Well, and they're nerds, so you can almost believe they would have come up with something that would have dampened the sound a little bit
Yeah,
or something.
they put one line in, so it was fun. Yeah.
And periscope
this-
lens cameras. I'm sure that wasn't very widely used yet at that point.
Yeah, you would have seen him, but who cares? Yeah.
This is a great scene when you watch it.
This
Oh,
will
we're not gonna
be a
see it. Oh,
modern
man. Get out of the way!
This
Sorry,
would be Me Too on steroids today. Straight
yeah.
up Me Too on steroids.
That's the sad part is people have got to quit being so fucking like that's the funny thing is you watch the review of this is the scene they show on Siskel and Ebert, and you go from that to Ebert basically saying it's basically a sweet version of Animal House, and like these sweet guys, it's a really nice-hearted comedy, and it's like, yeah, right after
Was
the
it
panty raid
considered-
scene.
It was considered a prank back then more than what it would be considered today.
Oh,
like assault, battery,
we spoke
breaking
of the
and entering.
devil, and he appears. Handy
There we
Randy's
go.
here, guys. You nerds had me at Bush.
Handy Randy returns.
We've been waiting.
You are only an hour and 25. late,
Oh, we
Handy
got some
Randy.
side boob there.
It was side boob.
Yep.
It was side boob. Yep. And of course, the
Wow.
nerds would know how to, rig all this, which is cool. Like,
Exactly.
You
back
just
in-
know those guys are going to end up in
Yep.
a Delta Force one day.
Yeah, like back in college, you know how I don't know if you guys did that in the dorms, you'd penny someone's room shut, and of course, being an
Uh-huh.
engineer, like the guys they pennied me in, right? So I'm gonna get these MFers, so I pennied we're friends, it's a joke. I did so many pennies and did it so well that I actually bent the lock. And then the security had to come and take the door off the hinges and take everything apart because they couldn't, even when they took all the pennies out, everything was so bent. And then the next year, what I did to get him, I got plywood sheets and wedged 2x4s across the hallway, so that when you open the door, you're met with a sheet of plywood, a 3/4 inch sheet of plywood, and no way to get out of the room unless someone lets you out. So they were stuck in their room for hours. Like, yeah, maybe we won't, penny Mark D.
My
in.
freshman year in college, we had a
I love the Mission Impossible music that plays during this scene too. It's so perfect. The Mission Impossible music enhances the hell out of this moment. Because
You know how that ended up in the movie?
How?
Timothy Busfield actually, they said we need Mission Impossible theme. He's like, I've got the soundtrack. So he went home and he grabbed the soundtrack and he brought it to the recording studio. There's talking with the director, and he's like, "Yeah, that's my rec." They use that to grab a quick copy. Not like today where you can just download something. So
They normally would go through get a copy of the master and all that shit.
yeah,
Back
yeah.
then they weren't as meticulous on that shit though. No,
Yeah.
like even Woody Allen literally comes in with all his jazz records when he does his films and does it that way. Like those are right off his records.
Right off his
Tarantino's the
records.
same way too. Yeah.
We love you when you're mad.
Yeah, we love you when you're mad.
That was ad lib too. Yeah.
As in Mad Martigan.
He's like, ah.
So I'm assuming, I'm sure at least Tom knows about it, but there was I think we touched a little bit earlier because we talked about the TV show, we talked about the sequels. Well, I don't think we touched on the remake.
Well, they were going to try and do it sometime
They were
around.
trying to, 07, 06 or 07.
Well, they had started talking about it around 2003, 4. I think they even bring it up on some of the DVD talk because that's when that set came out. And they actually had. You might even be able to find the thing for it if you look for it quick on Google. It was one of the Comic-Cons. They did a casting call for actual nerds. And I'm like, this is not going to fucking work. How can you make Revenge of the Nerds now? You can't.
No.
It's not the same world it was when Revenge of the Nerds. And that's why I said that even by the time you get to the third film, which was barely, 5-6 years after the first
All right.
one, like things have changed that much already.
Pause that, Mark.
Yep. Let me pause
Go
it.
back
Yep,
that one
pause it.
shot. But no, Tom,
This one,
you have a
one?
great no. Well, I was actually talking about the couch of dudes, but I'm
Couch of
sure the
Dudes,
panel.
okay.
Well,
I
no,
wasn't
because
going back, keep going back. No, sorry.
I want when I mentioned earlier how when I first saw this movie, this is pretty much how it looked like when I first saw this movie. It looked like all of us being wild the way these guys are wild at the guys. This was us. Look at Lamar. Even Lamar's flat, and even the Lamar's invested too. I didn't realize Lamar's face all this time, but Lamar's face is he's gonna say, "Hey, I want in on this too." Wow. And Clubby has some release date says they came out the same day in December of 1983. I checked. Well, thank you, Clubby, for
Wow.
checking that. Always have that extra insight there. We lost
And
Red
that
Shirt.
makes sense with the filming. Yeah, that's wow, cool.
What came out
Red
the
Shirt
same
was in the
day?
middle of a thought,
Well, I
just
mean,
dropped off.
the comics that were on the bunk there.
Oh, wow. So then we know when they were filming. Yep. Yeah. Good point.
Huh, that's something to ponder, Keely. I mean, even then though, it's so hard because nowadays, like once again, the lines, but like it's kind of like the whole geeks and nerd lines have been blurred. Now, like the nerds and geeks that are so mainstream, like how do you make that story work of them being like outcasted? Tom had a great point with that.
You make it the other way
It's
around.
not revenge.
You make the jocks the outcasts.
Revenge of
You
the
get
jocks.
Revenge of the jocks.
Revenge of the Jocks. I would not be opposed to a movie like that existing.
It could be done.
It could be
properly.
fun. It could be funny. I mean,
It'd be a bunch of
jocks have their trials and
Or-
tribulations. If we're being
It almost would
fair
have to
here.
be like Revenge of the Dweebs or Revenge of the Geeks at this point, because there are still dweebs and geeks, right? Like, I mean,
Uh-huh.
we're kind of in that category more than we are in nerd category, unless you're somebody like, Red Shirt or, Mark, who's actually worked in the computer field.
Uh-huh.
To where, like, yeah, I mean, I just don't know if you can now. It's not the kind of movie that I would want to see a remake of, even necessarily.
No, I don't. I think. Yeah, let's
I
have something
agree.
new. Let's
Wouldn't
have something
work.
new.
That's the thing. Even if you take out, let's just say the PC and intersectional and all the terms, you take out all those, out of the equation. Let's just pretend like our comedy climate was a lot more healthier. Even with all the stuff that's changed with nerddom and geekdom and fandom, yeah, I still don't see. If you take out all the political issues, I still don't see it. Even with all
I
that,
just think nerds these days are highly celebrated and they're highly
Because you're right.
merchandised. So, I mean, there's a lot of merchandising, there's a lot of money in nerddom. So it's not as that's the reason why I don't think you can make it today, because nerds are actually cool now.
Well, that's the thing, and everything we did love has been co-opted, right? Like, that's...
Yep.
I mean,
Well,
if
that
anything, it would have to be about nerds reclaiming their culture,
that's
basically.
a good
Yeah.
one, Tom. That would make a good basis for a movie. A bunch of nerds reclaiming it from the gatekeeping progressives or whatever. Yeah,
Ooh.
and the jocks help them because they're outcast
What would be the
too.
word? It would be the nerds have been culturally appropriated.
Yes, and the jocks help the nerds to claim back what is theirs because they're
Oh,
outcast
Mr.
too now.
Well, 70s,
this
I
line.
think you're on the script idea. Oh, are you kidding, Zoom in?
Yeah, I'm getting tired of
Now,
Betty's. Yeah, they're just like
now this, yeah,
they've had so much that
That's
they're
right, they're,
zoned out. I can't take it anymore. Yeah.
Sweaty Betty.
And wow, it's really weird, like seeing this scene because it's like it does bring me back to my friend's couch from many years ago. We'll just say many years ago. It feels like almost like a deja vu. There it is, Lamar. You guys are
you
still
still
watching the
watching the-
pies.
Nick, you're saying you had a shared sexual experience on your friend's couch?
Yes. I'm not gonna act like I didn't do some dumb shit when I was in middle school. Oh, I know. I'm just saying. I did. Hey, man, damn it! All I see is me in that photo. Yeah, it wouldn't happen, Kal-El. It wouldn't. It just wouldn't. But anyway,
Yeah, because it was 2006 when they were trying to remake this, and they said they shot for 2 weeks, and then they scrapped it. They didn't like the dailies, and I'm sure it probably would have ended up being a horrible movie, like you guys were saying. Yeah, because it just doesn't fit. You know, this is perfect 80s stuff when the nerds really were getting picked on and no one knew what they would, become billionaires and, start Twitter, Facebook, and,
I mean, we got
you know,
super bad at that time because that would have been filming in 06, or released in 07.
yeah.
And to
that's
me,
true.
kind of super bad has that revenge.
That is kind of a Revenge of the Nerds of its own era. That's a good point.
Yeah.
That's a very good point, Dustin. All right. I got a few direct donos here from our friend of the channel, Mr. Joe.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No,
That was
you're
rude of
good.
me. No,
you're
Dustin,
good.
I was apologizing to, actually.
Oh, better. Then that's good. That's better, Dustin. All right. All right.
Eat that.
Was that
I don't care if I interrupt you, Nick.
Okay, good.
This is
fair.
another one of my favorite bits here. Shit, we forgot to practice.
We got Joe's Atmosphere for $1. The first one saying, yes, the epic panty raid. And then another one says, I was a nerd when you got beat up for it. Thank you, Joe's Atmosphere. And then Mecha J for $2 says, Revenge of the Nerds 5, Attack of the Woke. Ooh, I like that title, actually. But, man, Liquid Heat. See, I didn't have access to Liquid Heat when I was, a lot younger. But I knew I had Mountain Dew, and that was the next best thing. And I just
There should be more people on that field, though. That's a pretty small football team, but
Yeah.
that's just a nerd and a geek observation there. But yeah, they'd have a lot more players out there, but it would cost too much money.
There'd be other coaches and training staff, and
Yeah, but yeah, it would have cost too much money probably.
Yeah.
well, they did have like around, I think, like somewhere between 6 and 8 million on the budget for this movie. Around that, I think at the time when they made it, so it was around 6 and 8. I think it made it around like $40 million, if my memory is correct. Yeah, no, it did very well for at its time. It was a very, very successful movie. I think it was around $40 million. I'll look it up because I haven't looked up in a long time, but I think that was the amount that it made. Yeah, I'm looking up.
And
It did pretty well.
One of my buddies in high school, and still good friends with, his dad was the first unit director on this one. So we're talking before the show. I should have reached out to him and maybe gotten some insights from him. But he worked on this movie, and I was asking my friend, I'm like, years later, I'm like, you still have any of those pies, Chris? I need some pies. I want some of those pies. Yeah, that'd be a cool collectible. But so it was interesting. He worked on that movie. So something I gotta ask him about it. Yeah.
It was $40 million theatrically released. I was correct. It was $40 million theatrically released, and Davina adds to it. Thank you. Says $60 million including rentals. Thank you for that. Appreciate that.
That's a lot of money for $6 to $8 million investment. Yeah. So back then too. Yeah.
Okay, not gonna lie, I feel like that's the least effective thing there that the jocks did. I mean, I get that they're trying to send a message, kind of like say, "Hey, we're gonna set you on fire," but the sign itself kind of looks cool, looks like a nice decoration.
Well, it's it's referencing something else they used to do, so that's I think the message there.
Yeah,
different
structure being set on fire.
Different message. Yeah.
I never put that together all this time. I was just like, oh man, I want a cool sign of fire in my front yard.
Yeah, so
that's
they're
why the Lambdas were so interested in letting them be involved now, or whatever. Sponsoring them for real.
Yeah, they're like not going to take this crap anymore. So,
right.
As a young kid in high school watching this the first time, you miss some of those messages. Maybe, of course, being geek and nerd adjacent language as a language of today. You sympathize with it on that level, but then this movie does have a really nice message and a nice heart in the end, and we're coming up to that final scene eventually, but you really when the tri-lambs come out, you're like, kick the jock's ass there. They really went over the line here.
The Greek games.
See, this is the kind of thing that colleges used to do. They don't really get to do anymore either, do they?
Yeah,
don't
could you
absolutely
imagine?
know.
No.
Trying to kill someone with alcohol poisoning?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That used to be a rite of passage, you know? It's
Yep.
that's
You
when you
didn't
know
die,
the
you
line
didn't
has been
graduate.
crossed.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, let's say I went to the party, but I never like really went to like all the sporting events. Even though I knew people who did, so but I couldn't tell you how it worked in the territory out there. Couldn't tell you one bit how it worked.
20 laps, 20 beers.
I can
Yeah.
tell you, coming from Wisconsin, this kind of shit was a normal affair.
Yep.
And
I
if
was an
somebody
anchor.
didn't wind up in the hospital, you probably didn't have a very good time. So, like, yeah.
That's right. Yeah. No, I was the anchor of my fraternity's boat races, and we had a kid who broke his neck mud sliding on the side of the hill next to the fraternity. That was
There's
a
always
tragedy.
one, man.
But that's how crazy it got. Somebody got killed doing shit like this.
yeah, I mean, I was only half kidding about winding up in the hospital. I was being more facetious.
But he passed away, Red Shirt. Yeah.
Yeah, he
Sorry
did.
to hear that.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, damn.
Oh, there's a cutie. Holy shit.
Yep.
Sorry.
No, you're
The actor,
good.
the actor tried to keep the tricycle, but they wouldn't let him have it.
How are you doing? Fucking great.
This is Takashi's moment in the movie. Like I said, when all the
Yeah.
nerds have their moment to shine, this is Takashi. But the fact that he's slamming beers right in that
They
little
could have
bike
done a
route.
little bit of setup. You know what would have been a funny scene is if you'd had a scene earlier where like Booger and him are sitting down and Booger's drinking a beer. And
Yeah.
he's like, "What is that?" And he's like, "It's beer. Have some." And he drinks it. He spits it out. I was like, "Ah, that is weak." He's like, "What do you mean weak?" He's like, "Here, try sake." You know, just kind of set up this idea that he's been drinking
Yeah.
sake all these years. That's some hard shit compared to beer. So this ain't nothing for him to take. And that, you know what I mean? Kind of setting
That's
this
a good
way.
idea,
Yeah.
Tom.
Yeah.
Make it to why he handled the beer so easily, unlike the jocks. Oh, that's a good setup. And he will have added to it too. They could have done like a nerds montage. Missed opportunity.
And even
Training-
better yet, it
training
could have been a
montage.
scene for him to actually get a little payback to like Booger, because Booger could have passed out on him or something, and you know,
Yeah.
he could have done something to Booger that wasn't so bad, but it was just a little bit of payback for him
Well, they were
fucking with
giving him
him.
some
Thing
kind
is-
of they were giving him some kind of chemical to help not have the
This,
alcohol.
but wait a minute.
Yeah, they
this
did
isn't-
that thing. Yeah.
This isn't as impressive as you think it is because it's only American beer, so it's not that.
Well, that's what I was saying.
All
That's what's my point.
right.
I think it would have been a funnier joke that way. But
Okay.
yeah.
All right. All right.
Roasted
All right. 70s. Why is American beer like making love in a canoe?
I don't know, Richard. Why
Because it's
is American?
fucking close to water.
Oh, he earned this. He earned this.
Are they
Holy
drinking
crap.
Schaefer, the
Well
one beer to
played,
have,
sir.
and you're having
Well-
more than one?
Well played, sir. Well played.
He earned that.
Well done. Well done. And this is where you start to see Betty starting to like she's not exactly hooked on what's his face? I'm already forgetting his name here. Damn it. Not Gilbert, but Lewis. But she's definitely starting to get turned off by Stan. She's definitely starting to get turned
yeah.
off by Stan because she's noticing like the constant like resentfulness, and this is where you start to see Betty's arc start to really slowly shift around. And then there's of course the infamous here's our boy here, man. See, I've seen some wild jocks in my life. I've never seen one that talked like he was like an oaf the entire time. Which, don't get me wrong, it works in the context of the movie because he's supposed to be like a stereotypical oaf, or aka ogre. But I that's definitely probably the one thing I probably have not.
You had every one of
Either
these
close to
guys who was
see.
either like a linebacker or defensive lineman or what have you, like the big dumb jock.
I've seen muscle heads and like big dumb jocks and who could slam some beer and do some wild stuff, but I never still were like kind of like the way ogre
I
does.
knew a guy who was
wish I
kind of like
did.
that in
I
school.
wish I did. That would have been funny as shit.
He was kind of like that, a lumbering kind of do kind of guy, and he would always pick on me, and because I was chubby, right? And he was like fucking 6 foot tall and shit like that, and we were like in like middle school age.
Yeah.
And one day I had enough of his mouth. We were in the fucking. This is my revenge, I guess. On one of my revenges on the nerds, of the nerds, I should say. He was just mouthing off to me one day in the line at lunch because, of course, he was like right in front of me. And the way we went to lunch is we would come into the auditorium thing, and we would sit down on the bleachers and wait for the next 10 kids to go up. So he's sitting right there next to me. Oh no, he was right behind me. That's what it was, because he's off to my right, and he just mouthed and wouldn't shut the fuck up. So finally, I just whapped him one with my back of my fist, and he was quiet for like 10 seconds. And he looks at me and he's like, "I'm gonna." And he runs out of the fucking room.
Wow.
Next thing I know, 5 minutes later, here comes the principal. Tom, we got to talk.
Yep. Yep.
Wow.
And this dude was
Wow.
huge compared to me. That's the funny thing. He was like an ogre. That's what reminded. Yeah.
Oh, that's and a couple of slides ago when the girl's arm wrestling booger. So the director told him the girl didn't know he told him to pick his nose right before the scene. So she really did. So that's why she like her reaction is real there. She's like, "Oh, gross."
The method acting.
Yeah, method. Yeah.
Randy says Mads picked on me. That's kind of a nerd versus a jock strap. And then the jock got hit by a nerd.
I'm not
Good job,
proud
Tom.
of hitting the guy. I mean, I'm not somebody who
You got
tends to like
detention
to
for
hit
the week,
people.
Tom, or
I think so, something like that. At that point, that was where I'd gotten myself in trouble about 2-3 times between him and some other punk who wouldn't fucking leave me alone. I took a swing at, but he took a swing at me too. But of course, he went whining, so I was the one who got in trouble. So I got told at that point if I ever got into another fight, I was going to get the cops called on me. So I never got into a fight again that I didn't start. That's for sure.
See, you should just
Or that
done
I
it
started.
in
I
your
mean, sorry.
Bat Tom voice, and it would have been all fine.
Well,
It would've been all fine. They would have just seen you as a crime fighter.
I kind of did later in life because the fights I'd get into later in life were usually with friends, and they were generally too drunk or whatever. And they'd come at you like they think they're big shit. So then usually it was just me putting them down on the ground or in some kind of, because I knew a little taekwondo by that point, or I put them in some kind of like subdued position, and they would sit there and try and fight back. And it's one of those situations where they'd always just get themselves more wrangled up in whatever hold I had them in. And I would finally just get them to subdue, and I go, "I'll let you go if you knock your shit off." And usually they would quit. So like that's the most of the fights I had been in past that. So I was always one of those kind of guys where I just tried not to actually physically get into a fight. I would normally just try to pin the person down.
That's what you got for doing that.
And have my way with them. No, I'm kidding.
You pinned him down, and you got
pin the other
expression
dudes down,
from
Tom.
ogre.
Oh yeah.
Randy could pin
There we
them
go.
down.
Go
Handy
back
Randy
to
could
that
only.
ogre face. I want
Yeah, that's a good-
that's what guys look like when Tom pins them down. Let's go back to right there.
Yes, I lived long enough to become the ogre. Oh, I was a little hothead. Like the little troll I am on Twitter, that started in school.
Oh, I was a hothead in
And
high
I was
school.
always the guy where if you picked on somebody that was littler or, handicapped or anything like that, oh fuck, you pissed the wrong guy off then. I was always, yeah. Well, I had an aunt who had Down syndrome, so like I was always very protective of, like I said, anybody who was handicapped or smaller, or especially if I seen 2 or 3 kids picking on another kid, that would always bother me.
Oh, rightfully so, man. Rightfully so.
Tom Kondo.
So I already kind of was like Bat Tom, is what I was trying to say there. But, yeah.
Tom Kwando, yeah.
They're picking on that little kid. I gotta go kick some ass.
Handy Randy can pin them down, but he has to approach from the correct side.
Karate chop.
If you have Gary, he has the back door covered. So you got the front.
He's my backdoor man.
I hope you're listening to this out there, Gary. We miss you, backdoor and all. Just saying.
Gary starred in that Hitchcock movie, didn't he? Rear Entry.
Yes, the gimmick was the whole time he didn't know he was gay.
That's right.
And this is where we have Lamar have his moment with his wobbling.
Wobbly.
with his limp,
Aerodynamic.
with his limp javelin.
Which worms are aerodynamically designed to go with his limp-wristed throwing action to actually make it go further
Yes,
because of it.
Science, because of science.
That's
yeah.
what I was saying. I love these little setups, and I think it would have been cooler than just a pill to have that other setup. And you could have set these up just a little bit better. But again, that's probably my own, and I'm nitpicking like a motherfucker here is my point. Like, this is almost a damn near perfect movie. I don't care what anybody says.
I agree. That ends once again. These are the arguments that I miss: is us debating over the pettiness of things like that don't really hurt the movie too much. Just things we wish could have been a little different. Oh no, Equine Tomasin, what did you do?
No, everyone's laughing. Back
I got a few here too, but yeah.
Well, what do you want to share them?
Oh God.
That's a good face. That's a good face for that one. Nerds. Nerds. This is a very short one. No, this is me actually.
You. So okay, now I'm at a point in my life where I mistake you and culture a lot.
This looks like Mikey here. I drink to that.
That's what Oh,
We got to get Mikey on one of these days.
I would love to have him on. I'd love to have him on.
Well, we should check and see if he's got a window in his calendar. That's a Mikey joke.
Oh, Weird Science would go. Yeah, good compliment to this
Nobody
movie.
knows
Yeah.
the Mikey joke.
Ooh, yeah. We should.
Well, I was going to bring up earlier, if you don't count the sequels, there is a kind of a good trilogy. Weird Science was one of them I was kind of thinking about, but the other one I was thinking of more so was actually Real Genius.
Yep. Bring my popcorn to that movie.
Yeah, that has a
Yep.
very big, huge, like Revenge of the Nerds vibe. It actually is kind of the next step from here, because that's what these guys are all about. Is they're the guys working on the military shit, right?
Making a freaking space laser.
Yeah.
Put it in
Oh,
a
there's
shark.
us.
Hereby.
Wow.
I don't
That's
think
impressive.
Krampus has all our faces yet, but yeah.
It's okay. It's a good start.
I sent you one, Nick. I don't know.
And he's
good
got
it'll
one
come
here
out.
too.
Okay, let me slide out of my screen and. let me see.
Lamar.
It's better with the volume on mine. I don't know if you can play the volume, but
Did you where'd you send it?
just to Twitter, I tweeted it.
Maybe
Oh,
I don't
yeah.
know if maybe this is one of the reasons. Like, here's the thing: growing up, I
Reply to.
I always found it very easy to be friends with gay men because I found them hilarious, and I think part of that was because of this movie and Mannequin. And it may be bad that that's why, because they are
watched that movie.
because they're two probably of the worst stereotypes for like gay men of that time, but still they're actually treated like real characters, which is different too, right? They're not just there for a laugh.
Lamar's a real person
Right.
in this movie. Yeah, they're
Yes.
not making fun of him at expense of his character. They're making fun of him because he's a nerd in this movie. So, and no one ever picks on him for being gay in this movie. So
Yeah, the only real reference to his being gay is the only real reference to
Reface
him being.
doesn't always come out as well as you want it to, but it's supposed to be Nick, Mark, and me. But
You turned out okay there, I can tell you.
yeah, they'll
Yeah, it
just
looks
work
like
out.
me in the middle.
7,107.32 boobs.
Oh, I look really weird and frightening.
You do.
Yeah.
The reface isn't always that great. Yeah.
It's okay. It's
pretty
okay.
good. Yeah.
Handy
They're like a
Randy,
goat.
you would know. You would know.
They do have a great sense of fashion. They're fun though.
Oh,
They know
yeah.
how to have a good time.
Just
And now
look
here's
at
the
Lamar.
most controversial scene in the movie.
And you know what?
It wasn't controversial back then when it came out.
I still don't see it so controversial. It's not like he is forcing himself upon her.
Okay.
He is the one performing. She isn't. And when she realizes who it is, she has no issue with it. So why does everybody else? Granted, it is sneaky. It could have
Deception.
backfired. It would have went bad. But you know what? I have a feeling she already kind of knew. There's no way, considering how tall he is compared to how tall Ted McGinley is.
Uh-huh.
And women know these kind. Trust me, they pay attention to that kind of shit.
I was gonna say deception, probably the only argument I could see on. I
Yeah.
guess you could say the counter argument
Yeah.
would be deception. That's the only thing I could
no
think of.
consent.
Yeah, but they kind of set up already that she's kind of geeking out for him a little bit, to use the term here.
Yeah,
In that scene before a little bit, you know, she's kind of, like I said, here at this point, you could kind of, by now she should be able to tell that's not him. And she probably knows, is what I'm insinuating. And it's kind of like, because there's no way. Look how tall, they're the same height. Ted McKinley's like a foot taller than her.
The big problem I have with the scene is all of a sudden the heels are gone from her boots because
Well, they couldn't.
Because it break the air mattress, but they should have had her wearing. I was kidding.
Well, they should have had her take them off, is what they should have done.
Right.
But when this came out, there was no controversy. No one really said anything about it. You know, times have definitely, changed in terms of how things are. Like 16 Candles now, and certain scenes in that movie and a lot of these comedies, and these movies aren't that old when you think about it. But when you try to review something by today's standards or mores or whatever you want to call it, and then go back in time, hey, maybe wouldn't have gotten made, or maybe it was a little insensitive, or whatever word you want to say, but that wasn't the intent back then. The actress didn't have a problem with it, and some people thought, like Tom was saying, that she really knew. Maybe they could have inferred that a little bit earlier in the scene.
Yes.
But, yeah. But you obviously wouldn't want to condone anything like that, but it was a different time back then. It wasn't viewed.
The joke doesn't really work otherwise, though, either. Sorry.
Yeah, but these are college kids, and it's a different time.
Cosmic Vader is a great comment here. Says when they're fixing the house, she compliments the nerd's efforts and notices Lewis's leisure. And that's the thing. That's where you notice that Stan starts to get put off, because not only is she complimenting the nerds, but she's also starting to get put off by his behavior. She's put off by his.
Sorry, Nick. He covered my boobs.
No.
And a big welcome back to Mad Mardigan.
That's my pie.
That's my pie.
That's my.
I was waiting for a pie joke for 3.14159, but they didn't make that joke in the movie. And look at how they're doing the stamp. It was very creative. They got the stamp there and everything.
Here's my moment to nerd out. There is no way they got that good a picture out of a video feed.
Back then, right? Yeah.
No fucking way.
Right, exactly.
It didn't exist back then, right?
No, unless they had a camera. No, not in that quality, because that's actually off a film camera. Video quality is, video quality. You're not going to get any better.
Yeah.
That's why I hate a zoom enhance. That shit doesn't fucking work, kids. It just gets more. It's not pixels back then. It was just more noise, basically, is what it was then. Yeah. Film, you could zoom in onto a point, right? Like you get up to a point before it starts getting real grainy.
Mm-hmm.
But see here, the look she's got, she's totally into this shit. You can't tell me. I mean, they get fucking married, for fuck's sake.
She was saying she knows the difference when she said they know you're doing different, techniques and all that stuff. So whatever was going on.
She doesn't even know his fucking name, though. That's what's funny.
What's your name? Well, the actress said, he was just that good that it was.
Yeah, but you know what? It doesn't matter whether she knows his name if she likes him.
Exactly.
Yeah. Sometimes she just doesn't need that.
And this was college. Women were different then, too. That's the thing. To be a feminist back then meant you could do whatever the fuck you want. You weren't held down by the standards. If you weren't married, that you were treated like a man. You weren't expected to have to necessarily be faithful all the damn. And that's what college is kind of about, is just, being a little crazy.
And did anyone catch the inference on this row with your boat scene?
I did not notice this from Dyrus. Is that she knows it's not the jock when Lewis pulls out the bigger condom? I did not catch that. Straight up, I did not. And we got Toxic Man Flu. How's it going, Tox? Says, I always knew Mad was a boob, but this is ridiculous. Hi, Tox.
Hail, Tox.
I cannot wait till we have the Toxic Tuesday panel crossing over with the Dix Division panel for John Wick. That's going to be amazing when we do that. The month of Wick, oh man, it's going to be huge. Absolutely huge.
Wicktober.
Wicktober in March. John
In
Wick's
March.
1, 2, and 3 in March. Yeah, Wicktober.
Yeah.
We'll call it Wicktober in March. That's a good name. Wicktober in March.
I love it that Ogre fucks this up. You.
Yeah.
He makes
Wow.
my with the movie for sure.
Ogre's more of a hideous bitch than the hideous bitches are. That is,
Yep.
oh man, that is just gonna. He is very scary, frightening to look at. Seriously, that is just wrong. Why? Why, Ogre? Why? Go back to Bloodsport, damn it. And then. Yeah, this is where we're getting close to that. No, the
Yeah.
big grand finale with the legendary speech, and it has added to that speech. Not only like when it ended at the time, for some like, oh, that's it, that's the ending, because that's where the people come united, and with the nerds crowd, and also we have obviously it's a stereotypical cliche ending song, but I'll just say for
I
me,
love this bit.
oh yeah, cut whatever
Yeah.
it is I was about to say about Queen and talk about. Oh, a lot of these guys are actually doing their musical bits in this. They actually are. A lot of
Yeah,
the
because
guys
sadly,
actually are
this
doing
is
it.
not on the soundtrack in this form. It's a different song on the soundtrack. It's the same music,
Yes.
but yeah, I
Yes.
wish they had this version on there too. But yeah,
I was
That's a
curious
Radio
like how
Shack.
much their soundtrack budget was. A Michael Jackson and a Queen song.
yeah, those weren't actually on the physical soundtracks, but they're in the they're in the movie proper. But yeah,
I
that's
Why
love.
do they do that?
I don't.
The thing is,
Michael
I
actually
saw
pops up more often than you'd think in movies.
Yeah. I saw
One
Kraftwerk
of the
live and
first
they looked
times I
just like
remember
this.
it was
Sorry, what was that,
because I
Richard?
remember it like the Karate Kid soundtrack. Because Cruel Summer wasn't on the soundtrack, which is weird.
That's another
Right.
one. It's probably because it costs more to get it on the actual soundtrack than it did in the movie. See, that's the thing. Even Michael wrote songs for movies they never even made it into. Like last week or two ago, I discovered he did a song for Addams Family Values that never made it on the soundtrack.
Weird.
Called It's a Family Thing.
I guess this is how we could say Top Gun and Revenge of the Nerds are in a shared universe.
Yeah.
That's actually.
Oh, sorry, and I guess I actually interrupted 70s. My bad.
Go
Okay,
on.
I was just
70s.
going to say, I saw Kraftwerk live in the early 80s and they looked exactly like this. Kraftwerk, German electronic
And
band.
this is a Radio Shack color computer. It's the third version, so that's actually period correct, and the label would be across the middle there. They took the label off. I guess they didn't have to pay Radio Shack, or they started calling them the Tandy. But I have a couple of these computers. That, 16K to 64K was like standard.
Mark, I can hear your wife calling. I think she's saying nerd. Can you move the mic?
I married a nerd.
This
yeah.
whole sequence is fantastic. I absolutely love this.
Yeah.
It actually is really a damn well done scene.
It is. It's
really is.
brilliant.
And I love that
It is.
Poindexter has beeswax on his hair.
It just looks great. He's rocking that.
I
violin.
had-
Brilliant.
So I'll tell you about. I had beeswax when I was in high school, and I'm gonna tell you that shit is the worst to get off your hair. I did it for one school year, and then I shaved my head because you had to use like a special shampoo to get rid of it. That shit.
Yep.
But
sucked
Nick, you're supposed
getting
to
off
put it
your
on the
hair.
hair on your head, not down.
Yeah. Not the other bit.
But
Hey,
look at
how
this, this
did
is
you know
cool.
what I was doing with my rose bushes?
There's closed circuit television. This looks so cool. It's like an electronic punk version of the Village People, really.
Yeah. And Booger was supposed to do whole numbers Elvis before this, and then
Yeah.
they cut it, and he was so happy that they cut it because he said he was petrified of having to,
It looks the part.
be
It looks
Elvis.
good.
But they said, "Oh, we're gonna." Then they said, "You still want to shoot it?" He's like, "Hell no!" Even if we won't make it in the movie. But then that's why he's dressed up as Elvis in this
Are we
last scene.
not
But it kind of
dead?
works though
We
with
are
the.
evil.
It does for him, yeah.
Yeah.
And Lamar's got the Michael Jackson jacket.
That is cool.
Man, Mars got he's got the biggest, like, hugest smile, like, as he's going around. Yeah, and he's got the moves. That's the thing. Like, besides obviously the fashion, he's got the moves, man. He really does deliver on the moves when you see him up on stage. Like he's got the groove when he's in there. He's feeling the music, man.
I was getting Devo vibes from the two in yellow.
Oh, it's Devo.
Yeah.
I mean, Kraftwerk did look like that, but Devo looked exactly like that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's too bad the subtitles didn't have the lyrics. Sometimes they do have the lyrics, so that's because the words of the song are awesome too.
Handy Randy would never have been able to play that gong.
Handy Randy would have been.
He couldn't hold that thing.
That's who Handy Randy would have been.
Yeah.
If Handy Randy were in this movie, that's who Handy would have been. Just saying. He needs someone to be there for it. Nerd rock, nerd rock is a real genre. I mean, you got all the progressive rock bands, progressive metal bands, even
Exactly.
Opeth. You could say maybe Yes, the band Yes.
I was a big prog guy, and prog was seen as very nerdy.
Dream Theater,
Jethro Tull, I guess.
yeah.
Never heard
Emerson,
of
Lake,
them,
and-
Mark. Never heard
Never heard of them. Never heard of them.
Stuff like Dillinger.
They're a
They
hell
won
of
the
a metal
best
band.
heavy metal band.
Double
Yeah.
Emerson
Yeah.
Plan. Yeah,
Metal
Double
album
Flute
of
is
the
a
year.
heavy metal instrument.
They've
I
had the
mean,
metal
they
album
don't-
of the year ones.
They don't come much more nerdy than Emerson, Lake, and Palmer.
No shit, right?
One of my favorite Christmas songs.
Well, except
is
for maybe
Jethro Tull.
ELO.
Ring out ye solstice bells, Jethro Tull.
Yeah.
Great Christmas song.
Did you do this is an
Rush.
aside, but you should do a best Christmas songs.
I did a
next year.
radio, That 70s Rock Fan radio broadcast on my That 70s Rock Fan radio
Oh,
channel.
I missed that. I missed
Not
it.
that I'm trying to plug it or anything, but you know.
Yeah.
Don't forget Devo. Let's not forget Devo. See, that's why I
70s.
always thought Gilbert and Lewis were being Devo. I didn't know they were being the other band, Brian.
No, they were being Devo. I just was thinking
Oh,
of
was it?
Kraftwerk. But I think they were meant to be Devo, but Kraftwerk did that whole thing as well with the
I didn't know maybe
same
they were
suits
being somebody
and-
else.
No, I think it was Devo. I think
Just for the record, 70s, you never.
Or is it Gary Newman? Davina
permission
says. Oh,
to
sorry.
plug things. No, I just want somebody to know he never needs permission to plug things here. He can just do it.
I can never match the magnificence of Mead Radio. Tom taught me everything that I know. about-
Genesis is another nerd group
See,
too.
I'm
There you go.
Yeah.
Huge Genesis, fan.
Genesis.
Oh yeah,
If for the 10 people in the chat who know them, Between the Buried and Me, they got their name actually from
Total
a Counting
nerds.
Crows song. And they're total geeks and nerds in that band. And they got their name from a Counting Crows lyric. They actually they are probably even more bipolar than Mr. Bungle was. People, because Mr. Bungle may have done the whole flip genre thing, but Between the Buried and Me kind of perfected what Mr. Bungle started, and I stand by that E.T. Bam perfected what Bungle started, because you have parts where it sounds super Pink Floyd, but they have super parts where it's super Death Melody, and they have parts where it doesn't sound out of place on like a Blind Melon album. I mean, Dustin
Circus shit.
BT Bam, yeah, farm music. There's farm music in Between the Buried and Me too. Yeah, BT Bam is all about all the crazy nerd stuff going on in their music, and they have albums where the songs are anywhere between 5 minutes and 20 minutes, and it's damn good. So yeah,
It was Davina. I'd
Bastards
say
killed the robot.
Davina,
Damn, that
Roxy
was
Music
pissed.
were more cool. They weren't nerdy. Super cool guys liked things like Roxy Music.
I
Not
see.
nerds.
Project Cambrian mentions history nerds. Yeah, Sabaton, except history nerds. They had the album Stalingrad. I mean, you can hear that title and you know that's obviously a historical reference. So even though they had songs
Power
like,
metal? I mean, how much nerdier can you get than Hammerfall?
Oh, that's true.
Oh, I love that.
Or how about you don't get much more gayer and nerdier than Glory Hammer.
Dude, that first Glory Hammer record is dope. I don't care. what
No, it
anybody
is. It is. It's a damn good. It's just that name is just phrasing in the making. Is all I'm trying to get
Yeah.
at. This Glory Hammer is. You hear that name, you're like, wow, that almost sounds like a Dick's Division album name that they stole before us.
I can see a meme coming on then. Now that you've mentioned that.
the Glory Hammer.
I'm trying to get that Dexterian Rock Hard collection going, like the DC one. So I'm trying to think of other songs to do and other bands. Anyway,
No.
sidetrack.
Anyways, yes, back to Revenge of the Nerds. We went off a nerd music tangent.
Revenge of the Nerd music.
Yeah, right. Render the nerd music.
I've paid my
Nick did say
dues
glory hole in his head.
time after time. I've done
Glory.
my sentence.
But committed no crime. I
Glory
had
hammer.
mistakes. I made a few. You take
I've
over now,
had
Tom.
my share of sand kicked in my face, but I've come through. And we go on and on and on. Yeah. Come on, that's your cue, guys.
I'm not
are
singing.
the
champions,
my
friend.
Bum, bum, bum.
And that's what the crowd
Keep on
leads.
fighting till the end. Dun, 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 dun.
How many people are still watching? Yeah.
Thank you for
I'm more
still
worried
being
about a
here, chat.
copyright claim now than anything.
Yeah,
else.
exactly.
Well, that's
I don't
because we
think
were
we.
so
I don't
accurate.
think. Well, I didn't do it well enough to get a merit a
No, we were
copyright claim,
really
so that's not a
accurate there.
worry.
Yeah, that's why I was worried about singing too well. That's why I didn't want to. Yeah, get the
Tom was so
copyright
accurate,
straight.
he's actually dressed as Freddie Mercury.
Not
right
really.
now.
Well, that may be true, but I don't know about it being accurate.
This is a
Damn
great
it, Andy
line
Randy.
here.
I bet I can win a thumb wrestling match. Oh, this one you see
Lord Almighty.
now.
We're
The
going to
coach,
hell for that one.
the coach is no longer like realizing he can just call the shot just because he runs the football team. Because now the nerds finally have educational backup.
Nerd power.
Well, not just that, he's the dean, and he technically always had.
Yeah,
Say,
but now
he
you
just-
can't even have a backbone.
He's been
this
like
time around.
henpecked by John Goodman there, basically. Oh, I love this when Bernie Casey comes in.
He's definitely one of the overlooked roles in this movie because he's great for the few scenes that he's had.
He's a perfect straight man. He's just like,
Yeah.
He's playing the mature adult in the film.
He has that, like, he's got that veteranshipness when he's
Gravitas.
okay. Yes, thank you. Perfect. I was
Like, let's
looking for
kick
the
the football
word.
team's ass here. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's going down. Yeah.
And this is where it leads into the great speech that Gilbert lays out, and then all of a sudden Lewis joins him. And as you guys said, the band goes with their, oh man, I love the speech. And then of course it goes into the all-time great Queen song. And yeah, obviously it's a very stereotypical.
Just wanted to say, I'm a nerd.
But it works. It really does work, with what they're doing for the same, because the nerds have finally become the champions. They got the revenge. They have the respect, and they obviously Lewis, he gets the girl, and they get acknowledgement from the crowd, and the jocks realize that they lost the war. They may have won the battle, but they lost the war in this movie. And also, I want to mention something because I see Keely Chan mentioning the belching thing. Booger, actually, his belch in this movie was not real. I was mean to mention that, and I forgot to, so we're going to mention it now.
Yeah, we forgot
Booger's
to mention
belch
that, yeah.
was a mixture of a belch that he did cross with the sound of a camel doing the deed.
Camels mating and coitus.
Yes.
Believe it or not, that's true.
coitus.
Yes.
It was a sound recording. I don't know who's got the audacity to record a camel doing the deed, sound wise. It's a bit something, but that's exactly what happened.
That's what you have to do to work in Hollywood.
Yeah.
I hope the camels got paid well. I got residuals from the movie.
Well, one of them did.
Well, you better hope the other one was a camel too. I thought that was being insinuated there. I'm just saying.
Oh,
I'm a nerd too, and I just found that out tonight.
Yeah, because he's always been in nerd denial. That's kind of their whole
Yeah.
and Becky's realizes that she loves a fucking nerd.
I have news for you, beautiful people. There's a lot more of us than there are of you. His speech is so perfect. Yeah, it's so good. Yeah.
It actually is a really good speech. It's heartfelt, and it reaches out to people, and it kind of reminds people who were of when their age, where they came from. Like it hits all the right notes. It really does. And
Well,
I
not
actually
just
have
that.
it. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, you know how nowadays they're like, well, I don't see myself represented on screen. Look at this movie. Like we brought up earlier, the Omega Moves, those were real girls from the campus, right? And they don't look like movie stars. That's why. Look at all the geeks and nerds behind them here. I guarantee you the band's the real band, like at the school.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, they're right. There are more of us than there are of you. We're so used to in movies and television at that time specifically seeing so many, pretty people. A movie like this was a bit of a, breaking some ground. Like they like to think they're doing now. This is when I say we've already done this. We've already been there. Right?
Yes.
This is it right here. This was our moment, right? Like this was our shaft. This was our whatever you want to put, in that place for our, group.
Yeah, no one's going to be.
We're having a low budget really work to their benefit.
It was low budget at the time, but the thing is, it became not only it was a success at the box office, but it was one of the all-time classics, especially at the college, generation types for people who, when they're getting at that age, get into this movie, it became a cultural phenomenon throughout the ages to a point where, once again, Hollywood wanted to do another. They tried doing a show on this. They did what, 3 sequels on this, if I remember correctly, 3 of them.
Yes.
Okay. And then there was the attempted remake that got shut down. So it's clear to say that this had a influence and then some. This wasn't like it was some low-key movie. Like, as much as I love a movie like Black Rain and Midnight Run, which we did several episodes ago, those movies were nowhere as well known as Revenge of the Nerds.
Agreed.
It's not even close. So
here's a bit of trivia I did not know since we passed the carnival bit.
Yeah, go for it.
When Poindexter is practicing earlier in the film, he's actually playing a slower version of what he plays at the carnival. I never noticed that before.
Nice continuity.
Yeah.
Nice.
See, that's what I was saying. Like,
And
because he actually had to learn.
And playing it really badly, as somebody who played violin in high school,
would
like to point out, God, he sucked. And then they get him on stage, and it's like he's turned into a virtuoso.
Well, initially they said they were going to dub him over, and they never. Like he was on the panel, and they're like, "You guys are supposed to dub me over earlier in the movie because I'm so horrible." But yeah, you're right. Yeah, then he was playing on, obviously dubbed at the end. Yeah. But it's a great moment too because they have that.
Okay, here's another bit of what I was talking about too. There was also a deleted subplot which Stan Gable has a nerd brother. Okay, I remember telling you guys about this. There was a scene written in which Gable's brother steps in to prevent him from being beaten by the Tri-Lambs near the end of the film.
Wow, that's actually real. I did not know that. Hot damn, dude.
The Tri-Lambs or the Omega, not.
No, the Tri-Lambs when they come in, the black guys, because that's what I was saying. Because I think I've seen this scene somewhere, and I can't remember if it's on the DVD and Blu-ray or not. But I don't sound like it is, where he has his brother, and his brother's like helping him with homework and shit, and like he's giving him his papers and stuff like that. And he's like, "You can't do that here. Like somebody's gonna see us together or something." And Betty discovers part of it too, and that leads into the whole thing about his whole self-hating nerd thing. Like, so that's another reason why she kind of grows distant from him too, from my recollection. But yeah, I don't remember where I seen this or heard about this subplot before, but yeah.
It wasn't one of the movies a made for TV movie or
3 and 4
straight to video.
No, 3 and 4 both premiered on Fox television.
Really?
Actually.
Oh,
yeah.
I stand corrected. Apologies.
And part 4 was such a big deal, even though the movie fucking sucks. That's the only one I hate. They had this big whole smell-o-rama thing with it and 3D glasses that you got from TV Guide.
Oh, yeah. Oh, God.
And it was the wedding of Booger, of course.
The wedding of Booger.
Yeah, it was a really bad pickup because like you're expecting the third film should have been a really good setup for a TV show, which is sad. Like, because it could have been Nerds the Next Generation. But then when they get to the fourth movie, it's like they jump back into this idea of Booger getting married, which is kind of dumb. I mean, it's nice because they can bring back some of the other cast members and stuff like that, but some of them still don't return, and other ones return as recasted people, so it's kind of off. But yeah,
doesn't have the same effect.
Yeah,
right.
Oh, guys, you're in luck. We got a Glory Hammer meme. Before I read out the scores, thank you to Toxic Man Flu. He's got us as the Glory Hammer right here. So I found the Dix Division Glory Hammer album cover, and that's a big hammer in my hand. And you see Tox back there.
We can't see it because of the nerds thing.
Can't see it because of the overlay.
Here, let me get rid of it. Sorry, totally forgot. There you go.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
Wow.
You see Tom over there.
See, that should be a Dixterian Hard as a Rock collection meme.
Hard as a Rock collection.
That's the one I did. I was trying to start a thing there. Hard as a Rock collection. That's pretty cool.
Hard as a Rock collection.
Hard as a rock and twice as horny.
Twice as horny. All right, I'm gonna try to be a trailblazer and knock this out here. So we had Keely Chow. Keely Chow overall 10, toxicity 10. Jonah Heck 7, 8-ish. D Bud toxicity 8, overall 9. Project Cambrian 10 out of 10. Then Cosmic Veda. I hear this in DBZ voice. This film's toxicity. It's over 9,000. My scout is about to blow up. Phantom Outsider 10, 10, and a 10 on Melting Snowflakes. It's Courtney's Fellowship of Oddballs 10, 10. Mecha J. Toxicity and overall 10-10. Fat Elvis, Toxicity 10, overall 10.
Wow, I think this is the most 10-10s we've had ever.
I know, right?
And I guess I got to agree. You know, I mean, really, if you look at it, this is probably one of the most toxic movies we've ever, I mean, by today's standards,
yeah,
one of the most toxic movies we've ever done.
Oh, without a doubt, dude. Are you kidding me? And where was I? Oh, Gonzalo, right here. Toxicity says huge toxicity. Overall 8. Stephen M. Overall 10. Toxicity 9. Marby Dog. Toxicity 5. Overall.
Oh wow,
7.
he only gave it a 5.
9 for toxicity. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And then TZ Toxicity 8.
Side
overall
boobs
8.
10.
Oh, you guys.
We've got Bush. We've got Bush.
E-Clay 2 said only a 2 in toxicity, but 10 in greatness. Oh, I am curious to hear the takes on the. And Dyer says 8 and 8. Radioactive says toxicity 9, overall
Nice.
9. Handy Randy says toxicity 10 out of 10 and overall 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10 red shirts.
And then we got Toxic Man Flu.
Hey, Toxie.
Toxicity 9.5. I know how much I have. And then Bushy 10. And then Joe's Atmosphere 10, 10, and 10 snorting wild laughs and 10 panty raids. And then Greatness from Cosmic Gator 11. And then I think I got some popcorn from Darius Munchausen for $1.49 super sticker. Thank you, Darius. Hopefully you are well. All right, gents. Well, that was Revenge of the Nerds. Let's do our final thoughts, and we're gonna get this show on out here. Andy 10, totally toxic.
Hey, Andy.
So we'll start off with Tom.
Yeah, as I was saying, I mean, as far as all the films that we've done on here, at least I've been able to join in on, this has got to be one of the more toxic. I mean, even on the level of just like the jocks in the movie, the certain level of things that they do and the way they act, you could almost consider that like a toxic level. Just the way that people treat the nerds is very toxic. I mean, with the whole maleness, I mean, you could, and like I said, even by today's standards, it definitely gets a 10 out of 10. But the movie itself, I know we always throw our scores out there, but this is just one of those movies, like I said earlier, I had to literally nitpick to find things wrong with it. It is definitely a 10 out of 10. So, and even considering the kind of movie, I mean, this is the kind of movie that, you know, my mom liked, you know, regardless of the fact that it was kind of raunchy. Because, you know, Siskel and Ebert were right. It does have a heart to it. It is a very sweet film at its core. What it's really about. And that's where I think people never really called out any of the shenanigans that people do now with the movie as problematic, right? Because at that point, like you guys were saying, like there was no malice involved with it. It was just a prank, more or less. They weren't doing it to be creepy or weird. They were doing it to get revenge, you know? And at that point, those girls deserved that shit. Right? Let's be real. Now, it's questionable by today's standards, but guess what? This movie wasn't made by today's standards.
Nope.
That's the beauty of it. And it's a capsule of time, much like Animal House was a capsule of that generation in college, that late 60s or whatever, early 60s generation, just before Vietnam and all that business. This was a shot in history of that generation in college. And I'm sure Red Shirt and Mark will probably speak more to that aspect of it. But yeah.
All right. Thank you, Tom. Appreciate that. And before I carry it on over, Magitech Mass for $5. How you doing, Mag? Says stay toxic. We absolutely will. That's our job here at Toxic Tuesday. Thanks to these gentlemen below, in front, and in back of me. That's what we do. All right, Dustin. I know you're probably ready to get moving, so we can have you even plug out after you do your thoughts, because I can tell
No,
you
I'm good,
definitely.
man.
Okay, good.
I would say I've been on the fence because, like, going into watching this movie, I had higher expectations of how toxic I thought it was going to be because I hadn't seen it in a long time and I hadn't seen it with, like, how you look at things now. I don't think it was as toxic as I thought it was going to be. I still on the fence, like whether I, how I feel about like the moon room scene and all that stuff, and like how that plays out. Does that, how does, did that shape things going forward, kind of thing? I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking too deep into it, but I think because everybody was kind of toxic in this movie. The jocks were obviously toxic. The nerds were they retaliated. So you can look at that as toxic too, I guess.
Yeah.
And then you've got the sorority girls were just as bad as everybody else. So
yeah, everyone was toxic.
So I figure let's see, 9 for toxicity and 10 for greatness, because how many handy randies did they go through watching those girls all night?
That's true, Dustin. All right, cool. Thank you, sir. And I got Kenneth LaRoque with a Canadian $3 super sticker. He gives a giant thumbs up. Thank you, Kenneth. I do appreciate that. Dustin, thank you. Cavatino, Cavalry Che, score 10, toxicity over 9,000. There's a fun factor, bag full of quarters in an arcade. All right. And who did 70s? You're up.
I'd probably give it something like 7,000 boobs out of 7,107.32. I think that of the genre of teen, what you put loosely called teen sex comedy romps, there's this kind of a genre of those. This is probably at the top, I would think. It does feel a tiny bit dated now when I watch it again, but in terms of toxicity, it's probably like a 9.5, I think. I don't think you couldn't make this now. You just couldn't. As for greatness, it is near the top of that genre. I think I'd probably be inclined to put it in the 8 out of 10 category, though, for me. Okay. Not one of my total all-time favorites, but it's as good as you'll get in that genre. Let's put it that way.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
And it's worth extra points for some of the songs in the soundtrack.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. True that, my friend.
All
right, Mark.
Yep. So, yeah, great memories of seeing this movie in the movie theater. I guess I'm aging myself or dating myself, but like I said, I didn't expect it to be that good. It was heard. Excuse me. Heard it was good from friends and loved it in the movie. Just loved it in the movie theater. We're dying laughing. Of course, being kind of a geek / nerd myself, kind of love, the resonance of the movie. And this movie's got a great heart too. That's what's so shame that it keeps getting, hidden now, because it's got a great message. You got an openly gay character who's accepted. You've got the message of anti-racism, you watch it on that level. And it's telling, screw these assholes who won't accept us for what we are, no matter what you like. If you're a geek or a nerd, you like comic books, or you're gay, or you're whatever, or if you're handicapped, F all these other people. I'm going to be myself and do what I want. And this movie has a great message, and it's getting, diminished because of that one scene. And back then it wasn't viewed the way it's viewed today. So the tragedy, or what's sad about it, is just this movie that, like we said, it's not banging you over the head with with its messaging, but it's just showing you the underdogs. It's kind of like a Rocky type movie in a way, and you're rooting for the geeks and the nerds at the end, and everyone else. And Lamar, you're rooting for Lamar. You want him, you don't want people to be.
Lamar's a great character.
Not
He's
to
an
interrupt for a
outstanding
moment, but I
character.
think, and I don't know if this is going to help. This isn't going to help on any grand scale, but it might help some of us at least come to a resolution with the whole moon scene. How many movies in that era and since then did we have where women were practically dolphin-loving men on screen and nobody says a fucking word about it?
Yeah. There's a ton of hypocrisy
Yeah.
around this movie.
Yeah.
I've seen reviewers claim that it's racist.
That term changes its
I
definition on a
absolutely
hourly
don't
basis.
see that in the slightest.
Well, they
Yeah,
look
and when
for
you
it.
listen to the director's commentary, that there's talking about how this movie was supposed to be promoting
Yes.
a message of anti-racism, and they said
It
that's
does.
why. And the the director had worked on some serious movies with Robert Redford. He'd worked on forgetting the name of the movie that won an Academy Award, but Ordinary People. So he one reason he wanted to do this movie because it had a great message and a great heart to it, and it's got that messaging. But you're telling a comedy, it's fun, and you can enjoy the movie, and you're not like, oh, I'm not getting lectured to. That's what's so fun about it.
Yeah.
But when you like great sci-fi or great satire, it's got that messaging, but it's a subtle messaging, and it's not interfering with the story. It's not telling the story
Right.
at the expense of the messaging, which
It's
is
a lot more
why this movie is so
intelligent than
good.
it seems when you dive into
Yeah.
it a bit deeper.
So I was saying, it is kind of woke before woke, right? I mean, it does woke
Yeah.
right, though. Like, they should take
Yeah.
notes from shit like this.
Yeah, but to
Yeah,
claim
no
it,
time
to claim it's
when I was-
racist is nonsense. These reviewers that try to
insane.
claim
Oh,
it.
it's just disingenuous arguments.
That's
all
the word. That's
it's
the word.
disingenuous arguments, and that's the point. That is
But
to be
anyway,
disingenuous.
we keep interrupting him during his...
Oh, this is
We're
great.
just trying to keep Mark
conversation now.
going as long
It's
as
Yeah,
just
keep
good
it going.
conversation. It's good
No, but-
conversation.
No, that's what the shame of, and I got to talk to my buddy's dad if I get the chance about this and what he thinks how it's aged. But I can imagine people working on this movie, and actors and actresses, they didn't want to have that kind of messaging too. That's not what they're trying to do with a movie like this. So, but I would give this 9.8. Loved it. I loved it. I've always loved it. And it's you get that movie theater experience too. You see it when it first comes out, and it's just great. And yeah, everyone's toxic in this. Like everyone said, the sorority girls are toxic. They started it too, right? They drive by, they moon everyone, and they get the pigs into the park. The nerds weren't hurting anyone. They started it, right? So you mess with me, I'm gonna mess with you
Well,
back.
it also started with them getting kicked out of the dorms, too. Like,
They had no place to live, and no one cared, right? Because of the nerds. Who cares about these? They're not bringing money to the school.
Big deal. Yeah.
Right. So I'd say it's like 9 on toxicity, and if you have, it sounds like everyone in the chat. We got a ton of people watching tonight. We had a great crowd.
Thank
tonight.
you.
That was
Seriously,
awesome.
thank you,
Cool,
chat.
yeah.
Chat is always awesome, and I think everyone's probably watched this, but if you haven't, it's tough to track down now. And this is one of those movies. Hey, go buy. I know Tom, you do your physical media show. It's like go buy this movie while you can, so you own it, because someday this movie might disappear. You won't be able to watch it. 10 or 20 years, maybe. Who knows where things are going? So I'd say go out and buy
it's
this.
still somewhat available on disc. The ones that are remaining from Fox's tenure on the film, but since Disney bought the rights, Fox now they have the rights, they have almost erased the original film from existence, and it sounds like it's even edited in some platforms. From what we were here,
It is. Philo is absolutely.
but you can't buy it digitally on like Vudu or Amazon or anything like that.
No.
So
Oh, it's not available on Amazon. I looked.
Oh, no, I
Yeah,
can't
and
buy
it is
now?
edited on Philo.
No. You can get it on disc. It's still available here and there on disc. And if you have a hard time finding it on its own, it was actually in a triple pack with Porky's and Bachelor Party as well. So sometimes you can get lucky and come across it that way. Like I got that set for like $3 at a used store once, and I was so glad I picked it up then because
How was it edited in Philo? Was it like the cuss words, or was it like
both cuss words.
Okay,
Oh,
so
the
they-
cuss
they-
words and the skin. Yes.
okay? So it was basically like a TV edit then.
like a
Yeah, it was a TV edit. Exactly.
Yeah.
Like if
It was-
you're
it
watching
was- it was-
TNT.
Yeah, it was from A&E actually, I think.
Was
And
it?
Philo
Okay.
picked it up from them.
I'm seeing it on Amazon right now on the Blu-ray for $10.
There you go, guys. Scoop
So
those
buy it
physicals,
now while you
guys.
can.
This is
Grab
not
the physical.
This is not us just doing a high piece to instill emotional like reaction. This is you can ask these guys on this panel. We all had some issues to trying to watch this movie via streaming outlets. This was not a joke. We never say this. Go back to watch the other 69 previous episodes. We never had this issue with any movies where it was to this capacity. Sure, there's movies that are on lesser apps than others, but it was never like this. And it's
That or
obvious
usually it's a
why.
rights issue, yeah. But
Yeah.
this is clearly being suppressed.
Yes.
Let's be real.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Yep.
it is.
Yeah, it is.
You got anything else, Mark?
No, I'm good, but yeah, it's been a great show. Well, we'll wrap up after, but yeah, go buy this movie and go watch it if you haven't seen it.
Red shirt.
Hey, yeah, this is my era for college. I mean, that some of the one story and one scene in Animal House came from my college long before I got there. But this was really like reminded me of my college experience, majoring in physics, being into computers, all of the rest of this. This is a fun movie just to watch. You don't have to get into any of the other stuff. Just watch this movie. It's a fun comedy. It's a hell of a ride. It's an underdog story, which Americans are just, by culturally predisposed to like. You have to root for the underdog, and the nerds are obviously the underdogs here. So this movie is just, you know who to root for from the first 5 minutes, and the movie is great. The 1980s skin and the nerds get the girl instead of the jocks, which is just fantastic. The band coming over in en masse when he says, "Come on over if you're a nerd and you've ever been abused or put down." And I was just laughing because I was in the band in high school, and that just cracked
I got
me up.
interrupted, but this is awesome meme. Thank you. Yeah, when I said
Thanks, Magic Poo.
It's very funny.
600 butts. That's great.
New name, channel name. There we go.
Yes,
Mark D
there
was
we go.
600 bucks.
Yeah, you should get up a second channel called 600 Butts. So in the spirit of Revenge of the Nerds, damn near everybody in this movie except maybe the dean is toxic, in one respect or another, at one time or another. So this one's getting a 10 from me on toxicity, and in the spirit of this movie, I'm rating this movie for greatness pi squared.
Oh, wow. I'm not going to be able to follow up. That was well done, Red Shirt.
I love the way you circled around to that red shirt.
He got his pie joke in there.
There you go.
All right, so we got Magic Poop. Thank you, Magic Poop, for all the memes you've done tonight, by the way. We do appreciate it. He gives
good
this
job.
score 2, so he deserves the score highlighted. 9 out of 10 toxicity, 9.5 out of 10 overall. And Joel's Atmosphere for another $1.99. Thank you, sir. Says, so glad I have a copy of this in Dogma. That is good. Once again, physical media, folks. So, anyways, my final thoughts. I love this movie. Between this and your Animal Houses, your Porkies of the World, this was my personal favorite of the bunch. So this one's near and dear to my heart. It literally gave me literal, real life inspiration, as we mentioned earlier, touched base on. So, and it helped me, fill out the revenge of my life. And also, I love the characters of this movie. All the characters they're all believable, well-developed characters. And it does it with an ensemble cast in 90 minutes. And you already feel like you know all the characters, you know their personalities, what they're like. And they're all different from each other, yet they are so full of energy and life and fun. So they had their similarities and their differences. It's great. This is what characters is. So I find the best out of the bunch because of the character work and because of the added heart to the story of the underdog element. It gives you those people to root for. And it does have a little bit of wholesomeness in there, despite the toxicity. So, yeah, it's very high on the toxicity element, but it really is a feel good movie in many ways too, despite the questionable elements. It really is. So I'm gonna give this one a strong 9.2 out of 10. And toxicity, dude, this one goes to 11, like heavy metal. It goes to 11 in its toxicity. So with all that said, that is our episode of Revenge of the Nerds. And hail Christopher Dominguez. Thank you for dropping in here. Yeah, thank you guys. This was probably the largest Toxic Tuesday we did. We almost had like 80 people at one point. That was wild.
Good stuff.
Thank you guys for the super chats and the direct donations. And thank you, Sherry, Krampus Cheese Buzz, Magic Poop, Legion of Memers for all the videos and the memes. I do appreciate it. Thank you guys. And I appreciate the mods too as well for being here. And to all the new faces, hopefully you enjoyed what you saw. Please come back for more. All right. Next week, we will be talking a legendary animated flick. A few have asked about it. It is not as well known as.
Do you want a little bit more trivia before we go?
Yes.
Got a couple more here.
Slide it in.
Out.
All right. In the beginning, in the song by the Rubinos, you think that maybe the actor who plays Ogre going, nerds, in the song. It is not. It's actually the director, Jeff Canoe. Believe it or not.
Whoa.
And then, yes, girls that tried out for the part of Judy include Jamie Gertz, Joan Cusack, and Sarah Jessica Parker. Thank God she didn't get the fucking role.
There was no horse part in this.
No, there wasn't any parts
Exactly.
for any horses, unfortunately.
No,
So, for
no
her.
horses about no horses about.
Of course, the drug that Takashi ingests during the tricycle race is fictitious, so they should have went with my story. It would have made more sense. Now, as most of you may know, Booger's real name is Dudley Dawson. It's prominent in the film. But according to the cast and crew, this was the name of the president of the University of Arizona, who was opposed to the movie being shot there.
Yes, that's true.
Because the movie was technically supposed to be shot, I think, a year or two before that. But, which is funny because this comes full circle. But the University of Arizona, which at first had said they would do it, said they couldn't, but then the university claims that there never was a person named Dudley Dawson as the president, so that story is under scrutiny. But what isn't under scrutiny is that the school at first said they wouldn't, and then said they wouldn't due to the fact that they didn't like the raunchier bits in the film and how it portrayed the students. The same thing would happen on the remake. That's the reason, besides the dailies sucking, is that the school found out more about what they were shooting, and they rejected it because of the raunchiness. So the movie was still supposed to be somewhat raunchy. And it had Adam Brody in the film, who was a co-producer, Jenna Dewan, Christopher Rodriguez Marquette, and Efren Ramirez, with Kyle Newman directing. So, and Emory College was the campus that booted him. So,
Oh, the other thing we didn't talk about was Mopery.
and funny enough, oh, sorry.
Trivia on that? No, it was just sort of.
No, I didn't hear what you said, but Peter Rice was actually the executive who axed the movie. You guys may not recognize his name right up front, but he is the guy that Bob Chapek had removed from Disney a few months back.
Oh, really?
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So anyway, you were saying, I'm so sorry I didn't.
Oh,
hear what you
no,
said.
no,
The
it's
plot
not.
sickens.
No, it
you're
was
good,
just
man.
we didn't mention Mopery, I think, did we? Or which was totally made up. I mean, it's a word like, doesn't mean, it was exposing oneself to a blind person. So
The Moper was played by one of the producers in the film. That's all it says.
okay, yeah. So but
Yeah,
He's in charge with Mopery.
it is actually a crime, but that's not the crime.
that's not the crime, yeah.
Where's the crime in that? I'm struggling to get.
Well, loitering.
Well,
or,
that's the joke. That's the joke.
Yeah,
Why does that matter?
yeah. So,
Maybe they can
yeah.
hear you removing your clothes. That's
Yes, exactly. That's what it was. Yeah.
Hopefully
Gilbert's
there's
last
no Mopery going on tonight.
Yeah, right. Gilbert's last name is Lowe, and his mom's name is Flo. So that means Gilbert's mom's name is Flo Lowe.
That's funny right there.
Yeah, there's a ton of, because of course geeks and nerds love this movie, so there is just a shit ton of and of course I guess another person who almost got the role of Lewis, but I'm sure the producers probably thought he was a little too old. And of course, he was already working on Ghostbusters, was Rick Moranis.
You see, I could have
Oh
seen him.
yeah, I could have seen that. Yeah.
And as I
could've
brought
seen
up,
that.
Eddie Deason was actually considered to be in the film. So like I said, I was surprised he wasn't one of the nerds. So
And John Cusack.
Yeah, Nick. Nick's a real name. Nick's your buddy.
I think he tried out for the film too. I think you're right.
Yeah.
But yeah, so no, and much like a movie in 1984, this was an R-rated comedy, but all the sequels were not. So there you go.
No, all good.
They don't
news.
make them like that anymore. Yeah.
And they tried to get before they got John Goodman in the role of the coach, Dean, or actually for
Warmer?
the,
Just kidding.
the dean. Actually, they were trying to get these actors. I'm sorry. So this is the dean. They wanted either John Candy, Jason Alexander, Nathan Lane, and Danny DeVito. Those were the ones they wanted originally, but they didn't get them.
I would like to
There
have
you
seen DeVito. That would have been fun, actually.
He'd have been interesting to play off of John Goodman, yeah.
Yeah.
But
that
David
would be
Wall,
very good.
David Wall, of course, ended up getting the role.
Mhm.
And he did star in a film with Danny DeVito in the future called War of the Roses. So there you go.
Oh, that's a good one.
Was
That poor car in
was
that
it-
movie.
Was that the Bunny Boiler? No, that was the Glenn Close.
That's the
Michael
Glenn Close one. The War of the Roses is actually, isn't it like it's not a Shakespeare play. It's
It's isn't it
shit.
the one where Danny DeVito smashes? He gave up smoking years ago, but he's got the cigarette in the glass case, and he's so fed up with the two of them fighting that he
I think
smashes it
so.
and smokes it.
because he's their lawyer. He's the one
Yeah,
lawyer, and it's
It's Kathleen Turner and Michael.
Kathleen Turner and Michael Douglas. Yes,
Douglas, yeah.
and they're getting a divorce, and it's based on another play, but it's like an updated version. I can't think of it.
Because I remember the joke right at the very end with the two men lying dying on the floor.
Yeah.
And Michael Douglas reaches out to hold her hand and she slaps him away and then they die. Sorry, spoiler.
No,
That was a pretty dark movie for me to see at that age when that came out, believe it or not. That was because I was 9 years old when that came out. Like, so it probably came on video by the time I was like 10, maybe.
Fatal Attraction was the Bunny Boiler, wasn't it?
That is,
Fatal
that is,
Attraction,
yes.
Yeah. Michael Douglas again, like but
Yes.
Glenn Close. Yeah. Anyway.
Spoilers for a 40-year-old movie. Sorry.
no, man.
Well,
it's all good.
there are lots of younger people who may never have seen these.
You
movies.
mean the planet was Earth the whole time?
That's right, yeah. Don't give away the plot of 65. 65.
All right. So next week we're gonna talk a very. I wouldn't say it's completely underrated because that term is tossed around a little too loosely nowadays. But it definitely should have more recognition. Fire and Ice. Great animated movie. Absolutely awesome animated movie.
You know, it
I
sucks
don't-
that we do this show at the time we do because that is one of Andre's favorites.
Would you ever? What if I adjusted for an earlier show sometime?
You know, actually, it would be more
Would
like a
he ever
later
be-
show would work better.
An even later show. So
But
okay,
yeah, I
if
know you
ever
have to
wanted-
usually be
what
up with
time
the
is it,
kiddos
Brett?
and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, right now, he'd be getting up here in the next. He either be just getting up here or will be getting up here in about an hour.
Well,
It's
maybe
like 6 hours ahead. Or
Yeah,
Why don't-
otherwise we'd have to do it
7.
earlier in the day because, like, yeah, he's like 6-7 hours ahead of us, depending
why
on
don't
where your time
we
zone is.
figure out? Why don't we get a list of movies that we have yet to cover that Andre be interested in? We'll set
Well,
up
Dread would
one
be another
special
one too. I know
episode
we had brought up
down
but
the
yeah.
line. We could set up an episode down the line where we can have him on. We'll make a one time only episode adjusted to Andre's time where we start later because I'll do that as long as I set up to
Or
where
we
I
have to do
worry
it in the
about
early afternoon
children.
or something. Yeah.
Yeah, we could do a one-time exception, especially if
Yeah,
I
do
like
late
to have
afternoon,
heads
yeah.
up. Let's figure out some movies that we could talk about. In
Well,
our
his
group chat.
all-time favorites are things like Fire and Ice, 2001, Conan, Dread. Shit. I mean, like he's got a lot of them, but those are some of his main ones. The Punisher, obviously. Take your pick.
Dolph Lundgren one.
He likes that one too.
I do too.
Yeah, I
Actually,
did like that movie actually. Yeah, so yeah.
Or enough anyway, you know. So like, yeah, he's got quite a few that are his favorite ones.
yes. So, anyways,
But Fire and Ice is definitely one that he really likes. So yeah.
So Fire Nights will be our flick next week. Yeah, hopefully you liked what you guys saw at Toxic Tuesday. All new faces, all familiar faces. Thank you for coming back as always. Greatly appreciate it. And hopefully I see some of you return for Fire and Ice, because if you haven't seen Fire and Ice, you should, because then once
Super
you
chat.
watch it,
Super chat from
you'll
Darius.
want to come here. And then Darius Munchausen for $2. Are you ready?
I can take. I think I can handle this one.
Go ahead.
Are you ready for the sex, girls?
The super hot kinky. Yeah, whatever.
We did Tango and Cash on one of our earliest episodes, Cosmic. We did. So I but it's okay. We have a playlist. You can go back down the well, and it's there, my friend. It was a fun episode. But with all that said, I gotta get going. I gotta get going to bed. But it's been an absolute bless. I will let these gentlemen have a quick plug on their stuff. So make it nice and sweet and full of slip and slides. Red shirt.
Yeah, well, Friday, come check me out if my internet works better on Foulball Productions, the MF for Cocktail Lounge after Friday Night Tights.
All right,
That's what I'll be doing.
Beautiful. Thank you for being here, Red Shirt. Appreciate it. Have a great night. 70s, go quick and hard.
I will be doing something.
You said quick and hard.
Quick and hard. Phrasing. Tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Mountain Time, I will be the guest on Floral Under a Rock's channel, where I'm supposedly going to be talking about my life. So I'm going to make up the most outrageous lies known to history, mixed in with some outrageous truth. Who knows?
I could see the angel Jussie Smollett being proud of you for that one.
So, because as a little known fact, I was a key founding member of the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, and Led Zeppelin. So, it's little known fact.
Thought you sounded familiar.
But anyway, yeah, Floral on the Rock tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Mountain Time, whatever that is in real time, I don't know. And so key show next Monday. God knows how we're going to top yesterday with Razorfist and the Canon movies. But next Monday, I'm going to go back to doing some music stuff, and it's going to be all about the Scorpions. So next Monday's It's Only Talk and Roll is a Teutonic tune fest. From
I may have to stop in for 20 minutes. Just saying.
You would be most welcome, my friend.
I'd stop in for that one too if I could get away from work.
Please do, gentlemen. Yeah. Please do. So Scorpions special.
Scorpions. Yeah,
I'll make sure I have a glove if I slip and slide in. But 70s, thank you for being here. Have a great night. Friend. And I can't wait till we get some Fire and Ice in us.
Absolutely.
Hi, Tom. Good night, Tom. Tom, do you got a radio show you're going to do in a few minutes?
Should I?
Chat.
I can.
Yeah.
You want Tom to give him do a radio show as he leaves? Give him a hell yeah in the chat.
Hell yeah.
There you go. You got a hell yeah already from the panel. Tom's willing to do a radio show if he can keep him alive.
Sure. I'll even start it out with some Revenge of the Nerds. How's that sound?
Oh, there you go. Hell yeah. There you go. All right. The jury is speaking.
I'll get you the link here since I'm not modded.
I just put it in.
Oh, did you? Wow.
And Darius,
I'll give you the actual link to the
actual show.
Stream. Yeah.
There you go. There you go, guys. Awesome. Eric K's got it too. Awesome. There you go. Yep. Everyone, you're going to go hang out with Tom over at Mead Radio. Tom, thank you for being here.
Yeah.
And thank you for, once again, always bringing the additional faces to here. I appreciate it. You have a magical evening at the radio show. And as always, we'll talk soon. And yes, seriously, let's work on something to get Andre down for a future episode. Yeah. I think that'd be fun.
Maybe if not, we can just do an Andre episode or something where he talks about his favorite toxic films or something. We'll work it out. We'll work it out.
It'll be great. It'll be huge.
I'll have my people call your people.
I love it. All right, Dustin.
It's that time of year. Beginning of the year, New Year's, everyone's looking to lose weight or improve your health, all that fun stuff. So just go over to my channel, Keto Simple. We do all that fun stuff, recipes, reviews, keto products, some cool stuff coming in 2023. I just gotta not feel like total garbage for a couple of minutes so I can record some stuff. But yeah, check it out.
All right. Thank you, Dustin. As always, sir, have a great evening. Guys, that's Dustin channel right there. And as always, sir, we will talk soon. And I didn't get Mark. So, Mark.
Oh, thank you. Yep. Great to be here tonight. Always toxic on Tuesday. A lot of fun. So check out my channel. I'm gonna be on Clobberin Times Thursday night for his Clubhouse, and I've been doing a bunch of reviews and quick ones. So I just did short on this action figure. I got to do an in-depth review on it, but always appreciate the subs and the likes. And my big show is on Sunday Night Geekery, 10 p.m. Eastern. We're off for the holidays, but we'll be back this weekend. Going over the Week in Geek and wherever the chat takes us, and probably talk about what we had for Christmas and dinners. And we always end up on barbecue or food at some point. But it's always a fun hangout. So appreciate anyone checking out the channel. As you can see from my background, I kind of like toys and that kind of stuff. So if you want to see more of that stuff, head over to my channel. So we'll catch you next week. And it's not the Song of Fire and Ice next week, right, Nick? That's what I'm clipping. What movie am I clipping?
Don't clip. It's the Man with the Golden Gun. You've done it already. So you're good.
I clipped the wrong movie for people who didn't hear that one week. So
that was amazing. That was legendary. No, Mark, you were the hero of Toxic Tuesday tonight, not just with the great work you already do by default, but with what you did tonight to get the show going so the panelists can get their rewatches in. You're the fucking hero.
Appreciate it. Yep.
You had to look at a lot of boobs.
It was a tough job, but I was glad to do it. Yeah. Glad to suffer through it. Yep.
Have a good night, everyone. Sir. All right. Yep. And have a great week. And as always, we will
Happy New Year, everyone.
Talk soon. And Happy New Year. You heard that. Next week, Fire and Ice. This week, Friday night on the Comic Shop Talk. If there's any comic book fans in the chat, we're going to be doing a week-by-week review of each issue of the Infinity Gauntlet comic. Not Infinity War, but the Infinity Gauntlet comic book. So we're going to do week-by-week, issue-by-issue. We're going to go deep dive into there. And I'm doing video again, finally. Woo! Yes. Metalheads in the chat. I did the best metal albums of 2022 because I said so video. That came out. It's a great video. It's great because I said it is. And
By the way,
more
Nick,
videos are on the way. What's
I'd
up,
like
70s?
to thank you for doing that video because I went and got every one of those albums. So thank you.
Woo! Wow.
Appreciate it very much, mate.
Oh, thank you, man. Appreciate it. It's all about showing the world the good stuff. So, yes, once again, thanks for supporting the show. Whether you're a newcomer, an old timer, I appreciate it. And
signed by George Perez.
Go hang out with Tom. Oh, that's beauty.
Yep, there it is.
Nice.
Go hang out with Tom over at Mead Radio, guys. Thank you for being here. I'll see you all next week for Fire and Ice or on the Comic Shop.
Toxic's done one more meme, by the way, but that's
good night, guys. Thank you very much.
Oh, we lost him.
Did Nick get kicked?
He's killed himself. He's kicked himself out.
He carried himself.
I can't even share that meme from Toxic.
I can share it because I've got the power.